67 days doesn't sound like a lot before a college football season begins. Wild to think that we are that close. We'll talk about it today. A lot of different aspects around it. We had history at the College World Series yesterday. We'll get to that. NBA Finals in action. Shohei back on the mound last night. A lot to talk about. Transfer portal busy. And we'll ask you about your favorite college football player ever. So a lot of topics, a lot of things that are going to be going today. You can be a part of the show. Watch live on YouTube. Search WJOX 945. You can also listen online, joxfm.com. Be a part of the show. Tweet in at Mac and Cube. 67 days, G-Mac. Does it feel that close to you?
It's starting to kind of get to that point. I'm getting travel schedules for media days. I'm getting things like that, getting those yesterday. So I feel like yesterday might have been kind of the beginning of the end of the off season, because as you know, I mean, when media day starts, it's full speed ahead. So I guess it's strange that you came to that realization at 67 today, because it was yesterday for me where I was like, golly, I got to get my ducks in a row. Like, I need to clean my office. I need to pay my Q2 taxes. Like, I need to get my life together. Because this is quickly approaching, and in 67 days, my life is over, and I got nothing that I can do from that point forward.
It's going to be very different once that begins, and a lot of these rosters are going to look different. Some of the schedules different. We'll talk a little bit about some of those today. Also, 800-239-9569 if you want to get in. Texas A&M grabs four-star offensive tackle Sam Rosenborough yesterday from Clearwater, Florida, 6'6", 295. A big get considering he was between Texas and Texas A&M, amongst others. Michigan grabs quarterback Jake Garcia out of the portal from Miami, Missouri, and Eastern Carolina. This is a bit of a safety valve. We'll get to exactly why we think this is happening here in just a moment. But 60% in his career, which is probably a little higher than I would have thought, 188 or 310, 2,376 career passing yards, 15 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. Based on the name recognition and the discussion around him moving schools multiple times, G-Mac, I kind of thought the numbers might be a little bit better in his career.
How many he was a 5-star coming out, right? So once you get that 5-star declaration, you're always a 5-star until proven otherwise, correct? Same page?
All the time. No
matter what, if you're a 5-star, you are a 5-star to the end. Like, in your eulogy, they will read out your 5-star status as a high school recruit. But he's obviously extremely well-traveled. I'm trying to figure out, obviously with Missouri being the most primary, but how many different schools has this guy been in?
He has been at Miami,
yes.
Missouri, ECU, now Michigan.
I thought there was one more.
Not that I'm aware of.
Obviously not. Maybe there was one that he was flirting with or came close
to
potentially
his transfer
going
portal
to.
Graphic.
Well, you see his timeline. There's 37 entries on his timeline. Literally on 247
Well,
Sports.
That probably includes commitments, I would imagine.
It includes offer, unofficial, offer, unofficial, commitment. Committed to USC in 2019. Decommitted, went to Miami, signed at Miami, transfer portal pretty quickly after that, year and a half after that, 2 years after that, technically, if you want to go by the date, but as far as seasons are concerned, a year and a half. But he was not at Missouri very long. There for less than a year. Has now been at ECU for less than a year, and now will be at Michigan for less than a year. So well-traveled, but he's at least played. What's the deal with Mikey Keene, your boy?
Well, that was my question. Is this more of an indictment on Keene or more an indictment on Bryce Underwood, the true freshman, that he might not even be able to handle the backup role? Because I think it's fair to ask both questions. I don't know if one is just a lock.
Remember, 5-star designation.
Correct. Then why is he not just coming in and starting? If that's all it is. Bryce Underwood shouldn't even need Mikey Keene there. If we're just going on stars.
I'm not sure.
He should be in a new Milky Way by himself.
New galaxy?
Totally new Black hole. Right into success. Shouldn't need anybody else.
Yeah.
He is a rising comet.
Big time. I don't know exactly how it's all going to work out. I think Bryce Underwood's going to be a good player. I mean, there's just too much buzz surrounding him to assume that he won't be. I just can't imagine him not actually being quite good. But then again, if he's not, God's gift to football, do you just stick with it? Because another 6-6, 7-5 season, I know that the recruiting momentum has picked up, but Sharon Moore, I don't think he's necessarily in job security jeopardy, but he's got to kind of win. Do you not agree? I mean, this is a team that last year, yes, they finished strong by beating Ohio State and Alabama, but the rest of the year was kind of blah. And I think you could probably chalk up those two defeats to the opposition as much as you can give credit to the team that actually pulled it off.
I don't think he needs to necessarily. I think he has a little more grace than that. Number one, what's been going on around him from an NCAA perspective. Now, some of that actually could be on him. I also think, too, when you look at just the amount of staff and personnel that left around the same time, difficult to sort of rebuild from that perspective. And then if you're going to play a freshman quarterback, I think most people understand bumps in the road. And if you're going to give him the amount of money that they did through NIL, you probably expect him to play. So if that's going to be the case, then I don't know if 8-9 wins necessarily has to happen this year, but I think that heat would be ramped up exponentially next year.
Yeah.
So I think he has this year as a little bit of a, let's kind of see what happens. Let's continue to sort of rebuild this thing to where we know it was prior. And then after that, it's got to turn around. I mean, they had some real quarterback issues last year. We know that. The offense was handcuffed at times, wasn't really one that could hurt you multiple ways. And then I think too, you had a good defense, but still you had a ton of departures off that side of the football, both sides really, that not necessarily going to be easy to replace. So I don't think this year, to answer your question, but I do think if he struggles and wins 6-7 this year, then next year, especially if Underwood plays this year, then I absolutely believe that you're looking at 2026 being a high-pressure season in Ann Arbor.
Probably. I think there might be a little pressure now. Like, I just think you're Michigan. You can't go 500. And you started your freshman quarterback. Anything's possible. I know it sounds crazy. I know he's got talent. I get all of that. Everybody wants the freshman. Everybody wants the hot shot 5-star. Remember Jake Garcia, the guy that's now transferring in, was at one point that hot shot 5-star that couldn't miss and all this other stuff, right? So I think when you take all that into account, you play a freshman, bad things happen. And not always. There are times when it works out great, but most of the time you play a freshman, you're going to have some ups and downs. So I'll be curious to see how it all works out for him. But I think he goes 5-5 or 6-6 this year. It's a problem.
And I'm looking at this roster too. I mean, quarterback might not have to be super playmaker. I mean, if Justin Haynes is what you say, 5-star, and that guy behind an experienced offensive line, that you add some prowess at wide receiver that maybe can help upgrade from where you were a year ago. Anthony Simpson was at UMass in Arizona. Donovan McCulley was at Indiana. So guys that have college experience, not that they have a ton of productivity, but maybe that's a little bit better. Defensively, you'll have Derek Moore back up front. You have a couple other that have played sort of in more of a rotational basis. You come get Damon Payne from Alabama, could also maybe help you on that front. So the roster might not be in as bad a shape as we believe.
No, I think they'll be all right. But I think the decision makers know that too. And if they underachieve again this year, because their roster wasn't that bad last year either.
No.
I mean, with the personnel that they had no business being 7-5 in the regular season. I mean, seriously, no business whatsoever. They had no business losing the way they did to Texas. I mean, just getting absolutely shellacked on your home field. I know quarterback was a massive problem. I get that, but it was a tough thing to justify. It's the worst season ever by a defending national champion. Let that sink in. So if that doesn't at least put your coach in a position where he needs to show growth this year, I don't know what does.
All right, so let me ask you this, because there are certain people that have had a similar conversation about a different team that on Saturday, September the 6th, will be meeting at Gaylord Family Memorial Stadium in Norman, Oklahoma. Who is that game more important for week 2? Is it Sharon Moore and the Michigan
Oklahoma.
Wolverines?
Definitely Oklahoma.
Okay.
But here's the difference between Sharon Moore and a lot of people want to throw like Kalen DeBoer in a position where he's feeling pressure. Sharon Moore wasn't really being targeted by anybody. Sharon Moore doesn't have a 10-year contract worth $80 million or $90 million or whatever the heck it is. Like Sharon Moore was really good in the interim role, rightfully got the job. And I think if there's a lack of progress shown, there's a reason why he's making $5.5 million. It's because he didn't have like a ridiculous amount of leverage in other places. When other guys coaching at a similar school, similar level, they're making between 10 and 12. All right. I think that I could see a scenario, and I'm not going to call it like the Mississippi State situation, with Zach Arnett. It's not that at all, where you kind of had no choice but to go in one direction. You did a little bit have a bit of a choice. There were people that wanted the Michigan job, but Sharon Moore was the best candidate at the time. But if they continue to stall, I could see that being a problem. But beating Ohio State, beating Alabama, I think gives you great job security and great length. But I think they need to win this year. I think they need to show progress this year. And if they don't, then I could see those associated with the Michigan program that write the checks becoming a little frustrated.
I could see it. It's feasible. And you go look at the rest of that schedule: New Mexico, then at Oklahoma, Central Michigan, at Nebraska. Maybe that's one that we should point to as to who is that game bigger for each coach when they play September 20th at Memorial Stadium in Lincoln. And you're probably starting to get a little bit of the gist of the schedule here. The road schedule is not easy for Michigan, because they'll take a week off and then they'll have Wisconsin at home, then be at USC on October the 11th, Washington at home, at Michigan State, Purdue at Northwestern. That's at the Rig, by the way. And then they will be at Maryland, and they get Ohio State at home. Would you agree that if they got those two of those first four games that we're looking at as very important, really for both sides and both coaches, that they're fine regardless? If they get Oklahoma and they get Nebraska, and I'm not saying if they lose the rest of the way, but based on what will most likely happen the rest of the way after getting those two games, he's good either way.
Yes, I think he gets Oklahoma, he gets Nebraska, and frankly, he gets Ohio State. Now, he gets Ohio State again.
Yeah, all bets are off.
I mean, how can you
But
ever?
if he were to get, let's say he were to get Oklahoma, Nebraska, and he were to drop USC and Ohio State, or he were to drop USC, Michigan State, and Ohio State, he's still fine.
Probably, yeah. Like I said, I don't think he's getting fired this year. I just think there needs to be some progress shown. And I do think the NCAA is a factor in that. Like, his involvement is, I know within Michigan circles, not problematic, but I think for the outside observer, it's a little uncomfortable. But also, he gets Oklahoma. That's a great win. And I think that will prove to be true. Now, Oklahoma's wheels could come off. It depends a little bit on what happened to Nebraska and to Oklahoma as the season goes along. Like, those are programs that I'm pretty high on. I think you probably feel the same way. But they also could be programs that go 6-6 this year.
Who are some other teams in that category? If we're looking at that way, we're looking at the maybe teams, the possible teams, but also teams that could hover around 500. Like, Oklahoma's going to be one of those teams.
For sure.
Michigan is going to be one of those teams.
Yes.
Auburn is going to be one of those teams. Who else do you view as Nebraska?
Nebraska. I mean, I like them a lot. The teams that I like a lot, but I could also see the wheels coming off and them going 500. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like teams that have a high ceiling, but the floor a little bit lower.
South Carolina.
Than some of the other teams. South Carolina would be out there. Would the other USC be in that demographic for you?
Like, I like SC a lot, but I could see them kind of being the same.
No, Jaden Mayava and with some weapons back should be dangerous, but you lose your vastly improved defense, as you touted, you still do lose some pieces of that.
Right.
That might not necessarily be what a lot of people thought. So, yeah, could still potentially be a year that goes up or goes down.
Syracuse,
a good one that maybe falls into that category.
Gosh, there's just so many. Georgia Tech.
What about Missouri? What's Georgia Tech's ceiling for you? I could
8,
see them
9?
getting to 9. Yeah. Missouri in that category for you?
Yeah.
Ole Miss in that category for you?
Yeah.
I think what we're finding out is that there's a lot of these.
There's a lot of teams that you feel great about this time of year until toe meets leather.
SMU might be in that category.
I think SMU will be better than 6-6. I don't know if I'd put them in the possible 500 category. Do you?
Would you put Miami there?
No.
I just have a feeling that there's some of that could not go right. And we look at it down the road of, what about Texas Tech?
No, I can't put them there. I think they're going to be better than that. I like the play. Colorado 100%. They'll be 500. They'll be 5-7 this year.
Indiana?
No, they'll be pretty good. I think they'll be pretty good. Arizona State. Can I put them in there? They have a tough schedule.
Yeah, the ceiling I think we're all in on. The floor is kind of obvious just based on who's going to be gone, what's
Name
not
a
going to be
team
there
in the
anymore.
Big 12 that's not like this. Where like if the stars align, they could absolutely reel off 6, 7, 8, 9 wins.
It's the other side that I don't think Iowa State will go 6-6.
No.
I think Iowa State might have. I'm looking through the teams and kind of thinking to myself about like TCU. I think has a ceiling with a 3,000-yard passer, Josh Hoover back. Texas Tech with everything they added, the ceiling pretty high.
I think 4,000-yard passer.
I don't think he threw for 4 last year.
I think he did. Stand by.
Arizona, not going to get the ceiling that we're talking about. BYU, I don't think has.
Josh Hoover, 39-49, 51 yards away.
Well, no, we asked was it 4,000 or not, which that would be a 3,000-yard passer, not a 4,000-yard passer.
I don't disagree, but he's
0.51 yards away. It's not a 4,000-yard passer.
Not rounding up. I'm just saying it was pretty
I'm the
close to 4,000.
Bad at math on this show, but
is
last
he
time
close
I checked,
to 4,000 or not?
That is not a 4,000-yard passer. But y'all check the metric on that. Maybe
Illinois.
PFF's got a way to make that with the super roundup, advantageous and progressive passing metric that
almost 4,000-yard pass.
So you're it's like driving 85 in a.
What if they just called it that too?
What's that?
PFF almost 1,000-yard rushers. PFF almost 4,000-yard passers. Thanks,
if you're
guys.
within 50 yards, that's pretty dang close. I mean, I'm not suggesting it's a 4,000-yard pass.
Close, Mr. Horseshoes. We were just talking about did he or did he not? Last time I checked, did not.
All right. Well, is he a 3,900-yard passer?
Yeah, he was.
Okay,
actually.
we'll call him that.
Not a 4,000-yard passer.
Big difference between 3,900 and 3,000.
I think Iowa State would be my team there that I would say. And I'll say this too. Like, honestly, I don't really care about personnel. I kind of just don't see Coach Kleiman's team ever being 6-6.
They're just not. They're 8-4 every year.
They're just too sound. They're not going to give games away. They're not going to penalty games away. They're not going to fumble games away. Like, they're going to tackle. It's just, I just don't feel like that's ever going to happen. But I don't know if their ceiling is 10 wins either. I don't know if I can put that on them just yet. But yeah, the league is pretty much a lot of what we're describing.
We can go. This is a good practice. Well, let's do this again here.
We'll do it on the other side when we come back.
Paul, and let's ask Paul, who's a 6-6 football team.
Get to that next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, 7:21, Tuesday, June 17th, right here on Jox 94.5. Normally joins us on Mondays. A little bit of a makeup visit from yesterday, not able to get with us. From ESPN, the SEC Network. Hear him right here, 2 to 6 p.m. weekdays. It's Paul Finebaum.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, crane works, rental works, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Paul Finebaum on Mac and Cube in the morning is brought to you by Craneworks. Lift it, buy it, rent it, the big dog's got it. Now, Paul Finebaum.
Always with us, thanks to our friends at Craneworks. Paul, great to catch up with you. I saw some comments recently from Greg Sankey, and this is something we've debated on the show. I think we maybe even asked you about it a while back. He says that he's a fan of the committee staying rather than going to computers. I know this is a fun argument that people have gone back and forth on, but are we in jeopardy of losing humans deciding who gets into our playoff in the near future, in your opinion?
I think so, because I think there's been such a negative reaction to last year that there was a major attack by many around here toward what the humans did. I remember I sat with Hunter Yurachek a couple weeks ago in Destin, and he was defending it while almost everyone around him and inside the building was being critical. Of course, when you're on a committee, Cole, you tend to stand up for the flag or rally around it. But I think it will stay this way. I think it's easy to criticize the BCS, although, quite frankly, they were pretty accurate. What's interesting is these people on the committee, they are using analytics. It's not like they're just only going off eye tests, but more than likely it stays the same.
Why do you think that there is this desperate need to get back to the computers for some? I just, because it worked out for SEC teams throughout the BCS era, I'm just having a hard time why they want mathematical formulas to help decide who the best teams are.
Greg, in principle, it doesn't make any sense. I think there has been a 2-year overreaction and more of a 1 year because and listen, you sat there every Tuesday night, so you're far more plugged into this than almost anybody else. But ultimately, I would like someone to show me which of the 3 SEC schools that didn't get in should have gotten in. I think it really has much more to do with the ACC sneaking Clemson in, and I say sneaking them in. They did win the league, so they really didn't sneak in, but it was almost them getting in by winning, and then the committee looking at SMU and just saying, you know what, they played a good game. Let's give them a participation trophy, and I think that's where the rub came. I think the Indiana conversation has been debated ad nauseum. They probably did better than maybe I thought they did at the time. It doesn't really matter anymore. We're sitting here in the middle of June, but that I think it was the ACC ultimately that rubbed so many people the wrong way here.
Paul, we saw something over the weekend come up about a little bit of realignment out west with Texas State potentially going to join a new conference. It seems like it gets very dangerous when the realignment talk becomes silent, and it kind of has been at the higher levels of college football for the last couple months, maybe even longer. Should we be maybe more tuned into another massive shift somewhere within the Power Four anytime soon?
I don't think so. And listen, I don't really recognize the Pac-12 as anything other than a collection of rejects and misfits. And Texas State is probably a better ad than it sounds, because I think a lot of people aren't that familiar with what they've done. I mean, they have a good program, but it's just cobbling a bunch of things together. But in relation to the ACC, I don't see any room for growth right there. And I think the Big Ten SEC conversation has been hashed out. I don't think either is all that excited about taking anybody else in, which leaves the Big 12. They've been aggressive in recent years because they had to keep up. But I would be shocked if major tremors start to occur within the Power Four right now.
What Power 4 I get. G5, if there's realignment at that level, does it matter?
Not on the biggest stage, it doesn't. No, Greg. But I think the real important conversation about the G5 is, what is the future for them? And we're now a week and a half removed from the Friday night House settlement, and it doesn't speak any better for them. I mean, the conversation we're having here that the distance between the G5 and the upper echelon isn't new. It just seems like it's getting even deeper and more distant. I think the biggest question is even within the Power 5 and at the mid-level, can the mid-level of the ACC, Big Ten, SEC, and even Big 12 compete any longer? And I don't hear too many people who think they can. We're watching something unique in baseball right now. You're seeing Murray State, even though they're eliminated, in Coastal, which has a really good chance of competing on the same stage. That is not going to happen very often in college football. And there may be some school that sneaks in. I really don't know how they can. And if they can, they won't be there for long because everybody else will come in and take their top players.
This delay that has now hit, and Paul Finebaum joining us on the Higginbotham hotline, thanks to our friends at Craneworks. He's usually with us Mondays, joining us today to make up for yesterday. That has now hit that House settlement. Is that a real snag? Is that something that's just going to be tossed to the side soon? Where do we go from here?
Cole, I think a lot of the original enthusiasm has evaporated, and I think the reality has struck. And listen, I give the four Power 4 commissioners kudos for showing up on that, and the other people showing up a week ago and a day and expressing optimism. And what else are they supposed to do? They tried to avoid a courtroom. They tried to avoid what could have been the end of what we know as college athletics. And they took a victory lap. But since then, I haven't seen very many positive things. It seems like, once again, the plaintiff attorneys are out in force. And just like they have done with so many other industries, they're probably going to completely screw up this.
Paul, we always appreciate the time. Always great stuff. Thanks for making up yesterday's visit today, and we'll catch up with you next week.
Thank you. Enjoyed it, guys.
There you go. Paul Finebaum joining us on the Higginbotham hotline, and he joins us each and every week. Thanks to our friends at Craneworks. Do you feel kind of the same way that I do, that usually when some of our biggest moves have taken place in realignment, I think the UCLA USC one was, I don't know how long it was sort of hinted at, but there wasn't really a lot of immediate chatter before it happened. But we did get a couple of people sort of give us a heads up. I mean, obviously the Texas-Oklahoma one felt like it came pretty quick.
Very.
And out of nowhere, because all of our focus was on media days and preparing for the season. And that wasn't a primary point of emphasis at that time. And then bam, all of a sudden there it was. Do you agree that when it gets quiet, sometimes that's a little dangerous for the realignment territory?
Yeah, sometimes. I guess I've never really thought of it that way, to be honest with you. It feels like we had so much going on in college football in the last 3 or 4 years. Whether it was the implementation of NIL, big-time coaches like Nick Saban retiring, especially here locally, having Auburn go through 2 coaching searches. I mean, the Texas and Oklahoma move back in 21, the counter move that we then saw from the Big Ten, and then ultimately the 4 corner schools ending up in the dissolution of the Pac-12. It was so chaotic there for a bit that I don't think anything's imminent. The area that I would look would be the ACC, and it seems like with their new structure, with how teams are going to get paid, I just can't imagine Clemson and Miami are going to do anything for the next 5 years. Seems like 2028, 2029 is the year when things could get a little dicey. And if they're going to preemptively move, maybe 2027, 2028 would be when things would start to potentially move in that direction.
Okay. So that probably put to bed for now, and not something that really needs to be a real portion of the conversation. If you're having trouble falling asleep in bed, your CBD store can help. Maybe just getting some of the weight off would help. The Trim by SunMed in stock on the shelves at the largest brick and mortar CBD retailer in the world right now. That helps suppresses the appetite, help gets the weight off. It's right there at your CBD store. Arthritis, anxiety for you or your pet. If you're looking for a different skincare regimen, they have different products that can help you there, either overnight, during the day. Different things that can help sort of the anti-aging from a more natural perspective take place right there at your CBD store. First company to have USDA certified organic oil supplements. If you need to take the edge off in the evenings, you need better focus throughout the course of the day, more energy, better way to wake up, your CBD store has answers. Check out one of their 3 locations, Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cajun Cleaver, Trussville just off 459, and now downtown in 5 Points, your CBD store, where good health hits home. We asked the question earlier in the show, did not begin to get to the answer, so you can tweet yours in now, 800-239-9569. You can also call into the Higginbotham hotline and get yours in. A tweet that I saw last week that I wanted to sort of bring up on the show today, and this just referenced one individual, not 100% sure why. I guess this person feels like Reggie Bush is just everybody's favorite college football player ever. But the question was, if Reggie Bush is off the table, who is your favorite college football player of all time? So for our crowd, taking Reggie Bush off the table, I don't know how many people that actually impacts, but we'll just ask you the question point blank. For any reason, any team, no matter how you want to describe it or state it, doesn't have to be your favorite team, just your favorite college football player ever, who would qualify as yours? We'll give you ours next on Mac and Cube in the morning. 800-239-9569. You want to get in. Your favorite college football player ever and why? We'll give you hours in just a moment. Probably some going to come down to an either or pick between three. Understandably so. If there's a couple that you need to want to mention, you can get in on the Higginbotham hotline now. You can also text yours in 205-834-9450. The account was Hawk'em Down Chris at Hawk'em Down Chris. I don't know what he does, who he is, but I think he's just a regular Iowa fan. And I posted it over the weekend. And I just thought it was interesting because favorite is different. It's not best. You don't have to qualify it necessarily.
Correct.
I do think the reason he placed Reggie Bush in there was that is usually the ultimate qualifier for the majority of people when you say best player in college football history. I think there's a large number of folks who are going to go with Reggie Bush. Maybe the further we get away from that, less would, but he would be one of the 3, 4, 5 that I think the majority of people that actually consume college football would say, no, I think he was the best I've ever seen. But if you just went favorite, obviously that can be anybody and can be there for any reason whatsoever. You saw him play one time. You met him one time. An individual game that they had. It could be anything. You just like their style of play on the field. So we'll get to that, and you let us know yours. Before we do that, G-Mac, tell our listeners about the cottages at Smith Lake.
Well, they are terrific. And look, we love going to the lake as a family. It's the best family experiences. It's the best memories that get created. And I know that lake housing has really been hard to come by since COVID. So there's a wonderful opportunity that is coming up this Saturday. It's the cottages at Smith Lake, and their grand opening is June 21st. They have secured 50 acres of beautiful shoreline there at Smith Lake on the west side of the lake, and they're the area's first and only tiny home community. They're designed with secured gate access. You'll have wonderful community amenities like a boat ramp, community docks, walking trails, lakefront, picnic area, saltwater pool, and more. All walkable and golf cart friendly. They have 120 home sites with beautiful views. And what I like most about it is that they have 6 unique custom cottage models so that you can build it out the way your family will use it. And honestly, the tiny home, what a great, great idea. And if you are maybe adding a second home or whatever the circumstances may be, this would be as low maintenance as things can possibly be. With these tiny homes, it'll allow you a lot of great time outside, a lot of great time together with friends and family. That grand opening is June 21st. It's this Saturday. Don't miss it. For more information, you can call them at 256-747-7459. That's 256-747-7459, or go to thecottages@smith.com.
Are we still doing the tiny home shows?
I've seen them. Yeah.
Yeah, they're around.
Okay. I just hadn't seen it in a while, so I didn't know.
I'm sure they're still around. I mean, I think they're pretty sweet. I looked at the floor plans of some of these things. Like, those are awesome. Like, I mean, they're perfect for a family gathering, no doubt about it. You're going to spend most of your time outside the lake anyway, so it's absolutely perfect.
Yeah. All right. So if we roll that into our favorite college football player of all time, don't have to have a reason, Greg. Don't have to back this up. Don't have to justify it. Which direction would you go? Favorite college football player ever?
Mine, I'm not sure it's close. I mean, I don't know if you guys, mine is just such a huge gap between my favorite and my second favorite. It's not even fair. My number one college football player of all time is Ricky Williams. Not even close. It was one of the first college football games I ever attended in person. One of the best players I've ever seen in person, and played for the team that I've supported as a young child. So it really isn't. He'll always be my favorite college football player of all time.
Okay. If it's not close and there is a big gap, you said there was one. It's not close between who would be next. Who would that next player be for you?
Peyton Manning.
Okay.
Would be number
It's a good
2.
one. It was a fun one to watch.
Yeah.
Not a fun one to lose to, but fun one to watch. John, where would you go? Favorite college football player ever? Don't have to have a reason. Just this is it. This is who it would be.
Joe Hamilton.
He was a good player.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech, mobile quarterback, moved around, ad-libbed a lot, won some games, did some good things. I don't think there's any doubt about it. Anybody else close in the same neighborhood?
The number 2 would be Michael Vick. I guess it feels like I have a type, but having seen both of them do it.
I would say
Hey, Michael Vick. Michael Vick's a good one because he was just electric.
well,
I just
those
didn't
two,
like
those
Virginia
two not
Tech.
necessarily close, I would say.
I did not like Virginia Tech at all.
Really?
But my mom went to Florida State. So
Just natural rivals.
Built-in rivalry.
well, no, I mean they play each other in national championships, so like yeah, it was easy to root against Michael Vick and company in favor of the team that my mom wanted to win.
Vic feels like one of the players in college football history that was most different when they arrived. You have certain players that when they did certain things, there had not been anything like them. Now, a lot of people didn't get to see a lot of Randy Moss because he was at Florida State for a fall practice and then at Marshall, and a lot of those games weren't even on television. But what he did at his size was different. And then you could say, obviously, Megatron at Georgia Tech would be another one, but what did he get? Like 3 targets a year?
Enough.
Maybe his whole career.
Yeah. So you couldn't even really enjoy him the way that you needed to, but there were certain guys that just felt different the way they operated at their positions, and it always made them feel like they were just more special to consume and to watch. All right, Damian, favorite college football player ever?
Marcus Mariota.
Why?
He was amazing. He made football look easy. He was just so smooth. And the first game I remember, it was when Gus Malzahn took the job against Arkansas State, and he was making his first career start, and he just absolutely lit him up. And I was just like, this dude is off the chain. But number 2 would be Cam Newton. But it was just that one season.
That's all you needed was one. I mean, to recognize the greatness. I mean, it's just he was special to watch, and I think he might qualify in that category of accurate passer with speed/power runner at quarterback. There hadn't been too many guys like him before me. Like Tommy Frazier could run through people, nowhere near the passing acumen. Mike Vick could run around you, run circles around you, nowhere near the power threat to go north and south like Cam was. He felt so different than anything else at that time.
He's probably the most polarizing because I think if you're going to put up the most hated college football players of all time, he would also be listed by many on that list. Like, I mean, I think he's one of those guys where, yes, you can acknowledge the greatness, but
we did that last year, right? Like biggest villain in college football.
He's probably
now
the biggest
in history.
villain in the modern era. Him and Johnny Manziel would be the 2 biggest villains.
It is weird how Saban sort of morphed out of that role, because there were many years when, he was the Darth Vader of college football, and how could he do these things, and he needed to move on, and we needed to get rid of him, and then all of a sudden it was the last 4 or 5 years, it was like, oh, Nick Saban should be commissioner. It just changed, and I don't know what changed it. I mean, I guess
everyone else conceding defeat. I mean, it's like, all right, we can't chase him. Like we had to acknowledge his greatness. Like that's kind of
almost Kobe-like.
I mean, Spurrier was the number 1 villain for a long time, but he's now kind of morphed into like a lovable figure.
Well, yeah, because you saw him lose.
All he had to do was go to South Carolina.
Changed everything.
And now everybody loves him.
But see, I don't think the general public hated him as much. You hated him when you were playing him, and he had things to say about your team. But like the stuff that he did to Tennessee, the stuff he did to Florida State, he didn't do that to every team, because he was actually really good friends with a lot of coaches in the league. So like he and Tuberville were good friends. He didn't do that stuff to Auburn really as much. And I think because he was friends with a lot of the coaches in the league, he took it easy on some of those schools when he didn't have to. So it's interesting, because I don't think a lot of the general college football public viewed him as hated. Now, running up the score, making jokes, and some people might say, man, it rubs me the wrong way. I don't really like that. But hated like Cam was, like Saban was at times. I don't know if he falls into that category. But you should see who that is going into this year. Like the biggest villain in college football going into this season. Because remember, Harbaugh had it for a second.
For sure.
And then he was like, cool, y'all can keep it. I'm out. Go somewhere else and try this. We've had good college football villains. I mean, I think Oklahoma as a program at one point in time sort of filled that void. Miami as a program filled
sure.
that void for a time. I mean, you get off the plane in fatigues, going to play in a bowl game, like you knew what you were doing, but you were fine with it. And those are usually the best villains, are the ones that accept that role and enjoy being the heels. For me, it's pretty easy between two guys. It's a literal coin flip. It's Trey Smith and Quentin Nelson. Those are the two guys that I have enjoyed watching play football, maybe more than anybody else at the collegiate level that I can recall. I watched a little bit of Orlando Pace, but it was game day Heisman highlights. I mean, I got to watch him in the morning some when we had an evening game. He was hard to kind of dial in on, but because you just didn't see enough of it and you didn't have the different angles, but he would probably be close. But I don't know how anybody gets close to what Trey Smith and Quentin Nelson did in college. I mean, those two would be – Tyler Booker's not too far behind. He would probably be like in the next grouping of guys. But, man, those dudes are fun to watch play, man. I'll tell you another guy who I loved watching play. We talked about Cam being 1 year was Quentin Williams. Like, the stuff he did was unbelievable. Like,
yeah,
I still don't think he gets enough credit for how he literally took over games. I mean, and people forget, Greg, like Pete ran a different defense for the majority of that year because they had him.
Correct.
How many other times they run a tilt nose?
Oh, they didn't often have a guy that was that twitchy on the interior.
Not many people do at that spot ever. But,
Yeah.
you know, I can remember watching Warren Sapp at Miami in a very similar fashion. Like, you don't see interior defensive linemen just take over games at times. He did. He ruined opponents' games. And it's kind of like I talk about with the 2000 and the 2001 Miami teams. Like, I still think the 2001 Miami team could have beaten the 2000 team could have beaten the 2001 team. May have been better at the end of the year. It's like if you go back and watch that bowl game against Nebraska, like Miami got run, Warren Sapp did not. Warren Sapp dominated that game, and it was against what was thought to be the best offensive line in college football. Like Zach Wiegert, Aaron Taylor, those guys, like they were really good, really good. And he, if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember if it was like the Heisman ceremony or if it was like a bowl preview show, Sapp walks up there to Fowler. I don't know if we can find this somewhere. And he's in like flip-flops, gym shorts, and a T-shirt. And he just basically tells Fowler on the stage, he's like, those dudes will not dominate me. Like, I'll have my way. And they're like, well, hold on now. These dudes are running for like 346 a game. And he was like, not against me, they won't. And he did not give in. I mean, like, he did his part, 100%.
It wasn't on him.
I remember
Right.
watching that being like, I need to watch this. This is going to be good. I mean, it was crazy. Warren Sapp always added value. Didn't matter what team he was on, where he was playing. And now we're going to give you some more added value here on Jox. I want to introduce you to my friend and wealth advisor, Tad Hill, your trusted retirement planning partner. Tad, the co-host of the Retire with Freedom radio and TV shows in Birmingham, Huntsville, also designated by Forbes as the #1 financial securities professional in the state of Alabama multiple years running. Tad, what do you have for us today?
Okay, today is a topic that we've discussed before, but it's a pretty constant issue, and that is market volatility. And definitely the markets have been topsy-turvy for months in a row now. And if you're already retired or you're within 5 years of it, there's a thing called sequence of returns risk. And I can't go through all the math here. I can do that in our course or in a visit. But the bottom line is, if you get poor returns early in your retirement, then you are at a much higher risk of running out of money. And our Retire with Freedom process is designed to help you build a plan to insulate you from that. We can help you. I would really encourage you to come to one of our courses or come in for a visit. And the way to do that is to text JOX at 205-988-0006. That's 205-988-0006. Text JOX, 205-988-0006.
This is a paid placement. Investment advisory services are made available through AE Wealth Management. For more information about Forbes rankings, visit Forbes.com.
Stanley
Welcome back in. 7:54, Tuesday, June 17th. Jox 94.5. Listen online, joxfm.com. Apps in your app store, iPhone, Android. You can download that for free.
Bill Smith Buick GMC is the GMC Dealer of the Year, the national champion, the 5 years running national champion. And the deals just continue to get better every single day. When you take the short drive up to Coleman, you'll see what I'm talking about. Go see Andy Cole. Go see Jonathan Yeager. The 2025 GMC Sierra 1500 Denali Ultimate is now $15,000 off the sticker. It's the nicest trim level that you can buy on a Sierra. $86,790 is the list price. You can get it for $71,790 if you just take the short drive up to Coleman. You'll see exactly what I mean. The second you pull on the lot, you'll see the incredible deals. You'll see the incredible savings, and you'll understand why 75% of their business is repeat customers. That's because you have a better experience when you shop with Bill Smith. So take the short drive up to Coleman. You can also shop online, have it delivered right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
Why Ricky Williams? I want to go back. Just I don't feel like you gave us like kind of how that happened, why that came to.
I mean, number one thing is seeing him play in person in the Cotton Bowl for the very first time, like one of the first college games I ever went to. Also short list for me is Warrick Dunn at Florida State. That was like the first college football player I ever knew, ever, except for guys that played, at what was going to be my high school had we stayed in California. They played at SC, and seeing Warrick Dunn was amazing. But I think just seeing Ricky Williams, seeing how dominant he wasn't tall, but he was so strong and had such body control. Like, he reminded me a lot of Mark Ingram, to be honest with you, when you fast forward a little bit, later down the road. Ricky a little bit thicker in his lower half and a little bit more power, not quite as much dance. But Ricky was just incredible. You couldn't tackle him.
He would just glide.
I mean, he just would, and no one could catch him. It's like, it doesn't even look like he's running that fast. No one could catch him. He always found the opening, and I just think he was a legit 30 carry a game back. Yeah. I mean, it's just, I love that volume type of back as well.
He was fun to watch, man. He was really fun to watch. We'll talk more about favorite players. Some of you are chiming in on yours. I want to be able to get to those on the other side, and some history at the College World Series all next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Glad you're with us. Hour number 2 underway, talking favorite college football players ever. Here's the beauty of this, is that you don't necessarily have to have a reason why you're giving this one. This is not who's the best. Back it up with statistics. Tell us what you think about why they were the best, this, that, whatever, best career, best season. Just your favorite that you watch play college football, but we do want to know why. For you, why? B. Stone tweets in Sean Alexander, Amari Cooper, Jonathan Vilma, Cadillac. We're getting a lot of Sean Alexander in, and I'll tell you, for good reason. 800-239-9569, 800-239-WJOX if you want to get in on the Higginbotham hotline and let us know your favorite college football player ever. Sean Alexander took over games, and I think that's probably going to be a consensus theme with a lot of the players we'll mention for this, Greg, is that they were just dominant. You always enjoy watching a guy seemingly that the other team can do nothing about. You can't block him. You can't tackle him. You can line up 9 guys, 10 guys in the box. He still finds a way to get yards. You think about the LSU game where it was either Sean or Curtis seemingly for like 3 years, Alexander, that just dominated LSU. I can tell you single-handedly, I felt like he was responsible for Alabama coming back and winning 2 Iron Bowls that I played in. And he was one of those backs too. I think this makes a back more enjoyable for a lot of people. Whether it was Derrick Henry, Jerome Bettis, you mentioned Ricky Williams, they got better as the game went on. It was never come out and run for 10, run for 18, a big run for 40, and then they kind of ran for 2.5 yards per carry the rest of the game. It was like the 8-yard runs came in the second quarter, the 20-yard runs came in the third, and then it was no less than 6 or 7 a carry in the fourth quarter and broke a big one. Like those were the guys that you just love to watch play football.
Well, and guys that are just workhorses. Like I like the workhorse mentality at running back. I always will. I know that's not the reality of where we're at anymore in the sport. Like most teams have 2 or 3 that are all going to roll in and have various levels of responsibility, maybe different skill sets, thunder and lightning combination. But the workhorse back is a lost art. And guys that can carry it 30 plus times in a game and, like you said, get better and continue to fall forward and just deliver body blow after body blow after body blow is always a good time. I think Sean Alexander was a phenomenal player. I didn't watch as much Alabama college football, when he was playing, but based on the highlights, he was legit. I just think it's amazing that a guy that was that big really didn't want any pass protection. He just wanted to carry the rock, So he was an amazing player, had an amazing career in the NFL, and obviously is one of the all-time greats.
Monty Peterson tweeting into the show, I was at the Miami-Nebraska game. Sapp got worked. He was on his knees during timeouts with oxygen with the rest of the defense. Okay, I wasn't there. So Monty proves me wrong, which happens often on this show. So I will
need to see the tape.
I'll do my better. Got it pulled up now.
Getting oxygen in between plays doesn't mean you get worked.
Right. Need to breathe.
If I'm not mistaken, Acuna was getting oxygen in the dugout the other day.
It's baseball. Hard.
Hey, by the way, can we sidebar something?
Oh, boy.
Just really quick. Is Acuna catching now?
I don't know.
You talking about all the gold equipment he has from the
You haven't
elbow
seen
down?
him at bat?
No.
Elbow pad,
The new bat?
wrist brace.
Oh, no, it's a full shin guard
Full
like a
shin
catcher
guard.
would wear. And I know exactly what's coming next.
Chest protector?
I tore 2 ACLs.
In his shin?
Right.
Covers his knee too, Greg. I'll find one. And
Can you
send it
tear
to
your ACL by hitting a ball off your knee?
I'll just say this. I remember a time when a lot of people complained about Barry Bonds wearing an elbow brace. And he looks like he could literally just, all he has to do is turn the batting helmet around and put a mask on, and he could catch. But
It's injury
I was
prevention.
just curious.
Yeah, but he plays for America's team.
Nobody else has said a word about it, so I don't know. We'll find it at bat.
Your shin is dangerously close to your calf, and it could be for calf
Calf
heart
heart
attack
attacks.
protection.
It's well said.
Gotta
If that's what
be
he's
careful with
preventing, I think that makes sense. I also think it's worth noting that how soon until 7 GBBA teams have full catcher gear that are in ice cream paint job colors? when the kids go out there.
It's trending that way.
I love where we're at.
It'll trend that way.
Love sports. The gear doesn't bother me. That will never bother me. If it makes you feel better and you can swing the bat more comfortably wearing a full catcher's gear, I got no problem with it.
Hey,
I'm not kidding when I say
moon.
that. Like, I know that sounds like really ridiculous, but if you want to put on sliding mitts because you don't want to hurt your hands, I get it. Your hands help you throw. You need to throw in baseball. I got no problem with it whatsoever.
Gotta protect.
I got no problem with it whatsoever. If you want to wear full shin guards, totally support it. Now, I might make fun of you in the game. If I was the catcher, I would mention something. I would say something to the guy that was up to bat wearing ridiculous gear. But at the same time, if it makes you more comfortable, I can't give you too much of a hard time for it.
Okay.
Got no problems.
All right.
You are just like, rub dirt on his shin.
It just felt like more than I've seen.
Right.
Ever.
Outside of the dude on Instagram that makes fun of travel ball all the time, and he like puts all the stuff on when he goes out there to make fun of the kids nowadays, and he's usually accurate with what he's doing. But yeah,
I've seen that guy on Instagram. He is funny.
Willis,
the guy that also does how your mom dropping you off at the games versus your dad dropping you off at the games.
I think he did do that one.
Yeah. Those are funny.
No, he's usually pretty good and pretty spot on with some of the
stuff. What are you doing?
Willis wants to chime in from Chelsea on favorite college football player. Willis, welcome in.
Hey, how y'all doing today?
Doing great, thanks.
As a lifelong Florida Gators fan, it's not even close to being close. My favorite player is Danny Werfel.
Yeah, he was here's the hard thing about Werfel. It's hard not to love some of those receivers just as much as it was him. I mean, Ike Hilliard was pretty incredible.
They helped for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
they helped. Yeah,
Rydell Anthony was fun. Jaquez Green fun. Like those dudes were good. But I think the cool part about Werfel was you could say what you want about the receivers. To have his little arm strength as he actually had, and to be able to complete the amount of passes he did the way he did, was pretty impressive. Like it was kind of cool to see a guy that wasn't, couldn't throw it through a brick wall, be able to put up those yards, and because he operated the offense. Like, I mean, he knew what he was capable of.
Where you want to put it, though.
No doubt. It's super accurate. I mean, fun to watch.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Appreciate the call, Willis. Trade tweets into the show, as an Aggie, it's easy, Ryan Swope. I will say a guy who I loved watching play college football, man.
He was great. Yeah.
And if you go back to that year that Manziel beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa, you should not have that conversation without Ryan Swope, because the third down catches late were massive. Absolutely massive. The dude was not afraid to block, not afraid to get out front and be physical. I mean, unfortunately, his physicality, the reason he didn't keep playing football, because he caught too many balls over the middle and just took shots. But a very enjoyable college football player, no doubt about it.
For sure. And, had some big games and some big moments.
Yes.
Yep.
I think that's big, is if you can help lead your team alongside Johnny Manziel to an upset of seismic proportions, then that will naturally be very memorable for a lot of folks and will easily allow you to be in the conversation for one of your favorites.
Absolutely. All right. I also think too, like when we're mentioning a couple of those players there, and like you said, big games, I think too, a big portion of this for a lot of people is going to be, and it's kind of not for me, but for most people, this will be a player in the era of which you fell in love with college football. And that might not be your team.
For sure.
Kind of like what you're saying with Ricky Williams. Like that's when college football was probably most impressionable on you, or maybe just a little bit after.
I was 10 years old.
Yeah, you were just getting into it. You were living in Texas. Obviously, that was a huge deal. That was must-see TV. Those were must-see players. He played in some big games, did some big things in some big games. And like there are certain individuals I'll always remember because of what they did when I was at that point in my life, like Jerome Bettis at Notre Dame, like Steve Entman at Washington. Like you'll never forget those guys. And they're probably always, not yours, but some of those that I'm referencing, probably not as good as a lot of us remember. Like just because they were so special because of how we were watching college football at that time, how we were consuming it. It meant so much to us.
Right.
It becomes very different. So, I mean, Damian, obviously, Marcus Mariota, that's when you were what, 4? When he played college football?
3.
So, yeah.
I was like 15.
Right in there when, you would normally fall in love
no
with
doubt.
college football.
That's what you got to acknowledge that. I mean, it's absolutely a huge factor.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you want to admit it or not, it's a huge factor when taking everything into account with all of your impressionable age, the fandom that you have at that age. I mean, like, loving your team is among the most important things in the world. And if the player is the best player on the team, then he's going to lead to having a lifelong relationship with that player.
Greg Hendricks tweets in, I agree with Cole. They're taking the toughness out of these kids nowadays. Athletes are soft. Go on IR for a hangnail. I just felt like that needed to be read that way.
It built different.
Just me. Scott Shazer tweets in, favorite college football player, Landon Dickerson. Man, we talked about when we were mentioning a couple of other guys earlier in the show, like coming back from out of nowhere or like just all-time comebacks. I mean, Landon Dickerson was beat up, couldn't stay on the field, probably played worse as his career went on at Florida State. Not that he was a bad player, but just played better early, and then all of a sudden comes to Alabama and is one of the best offensive linemen in college football and has a great career. Now, unfortunately, you didn't want to see it ended the way that it did and got to come in and snap the football national championship game. But, I mean, that's a guy that went from, I don't want to say came out of nowhere, but did not look like his career was going where it was, and then found a way to turn it around and finish in an amazing way, G-Mac.
No, I'm with you 100%. I mean, and I think just the leadership that he displayed, the accountability that was created on that roster in large part due to his presence. I mean, he's a throwback. And I think that he's an easy one to get on board with for sure. Like
there's guys too that you remember. We talked a little bit earlier about Mike Vick, like doing things different at a position that you had ever seen done. I have a guy that fits that bill perfectly that I want to reference in just a moment. Sean O'Brien tweets in Mike Allstott at Purdue. Like he would kind of be one of those guys. Like Mike Allstott sort of began the era of the jumbo running back, like maybe coming off Jerome Bettis, but guys like Javorsky Lane, Ron Dane, who would step in. It's okay that you're 230 or 240 or 260. It's like, we will hand you the football. Yeah. Like I remember Pooh Bear Williams at Florida State, who never really played. I think they tried to move him to D-line but like wanted to be a running back, and he was legit 280. I mean, Google him. Pooh Bear Williams at Florida State. You talk about fun to watch, man. Like they didn't give it to him a ton, but was like one of those folk hero college football players. Like just like a Jolly Green Giant type player. Like he's like a Paul Bunyan type football player. You didn't think it was real, and you heard more stories than you saw because of how it was consumed back then. But Mike Allstott, kind of one of those guys too. Like I remember they would show Purdue cut-ins when we had night games, and we actually had a little time to sit around and watch football on Saturdays. They'd show Purdue cut-ins, and you're like, that dude's not running that fast. I'll tell you another one that was like that was Tim Dwight at Iowa. Y'all don't remember Tim Dwight.
I remember Tim Dwight.
Go watch Tim Dwight return punts. And you talk about the smartest, best route running, best coach on the field, like
the progenitor,
sharpest, like reliable hands guy you've ever seen run in your life, because there was not another white dude at receiver that had run like that before. I don't know another way to say that, so I just said it. But that's it. That's what it was. And you watched him, and you're like, hold on a second.
And he wore number 6 too?
I am insulted.
Dude, Tim Dwight could go.
Hey.
Tim Dwight could go.
No, he could float. He was a monster.
And another dude.
Javorsky Lane, by the way, we played him in high school.
Yep. Oh, boy, here it comes. Here it comes.
My God. He was the same size in high school.
Just bouncing off of him?
At Lufkin. His receiver was Des
Bryant.
Wow. So receiver is Des Bryant. Javorsky Lane was at running back. And
inside zone, play action.
Inside zone, back shoulder fade. Inside zone, back shoulder fade. I think Des Bryant went for like 240. We had
on like 4 catches.
He is huge.
We had a coach on the field.
Javorsky Lane?
Yes.
His son is a big-time baseball prospect right now,
Bro,
too.
He was 270 pounds in high school.
He was a monster.
He was the biggest player on the field in the 5A semifinal of the state championship game. We beat him, and we were lucky because he fumbled. Like we forced a fumble against him, hit him right on the ball. It popped out, and we were able to get it. But it was like, dude, he was insane. We had a coach on the field at corner named Scott. I don't want to say his last name because he actually kind of lives in the area.
Great route defender.
He actually went to Navy on a full ride. Like played D1 corner as a coach on the field. And he had a tough time with Des Bryant. I'll
I
just
can
say
imagine
that.
so.
Time with Dez. I think Dez was a freshman, by the way, that year.
Yeah.
But Jaworski was a grown man.
Yeah, he was. I'm just telling you, man. The jumbo running back had it today.
5'11", 260.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he was
He
every bit
looked
of
taller
it.
than 5'11", though. I will say that. Like he looked a little leaner than
Bro,
that.
he was enormous. And ran hard. Like I'm not
yeah,
talking
he wasn't running out of
he
bounds.
wasn't like JJ Pegues tiptoeing through the hole.
Oh no.
Doing spin moves and stuff. Like this guy's, if you don't get out of his way, you're literally gonna have cleat marks on your back.
Yeah.
Needless to say, there was not a guy on our team that tried to hit him above the knee. Like the only way you're getting him down is by being the low
his
man.
knees had to take a punt.
Dude, you couldn't get him down. If you went up high, you have no shot.
Yeah.
In high school,
everybody was going for those knees. I mean, there was no other way to go get him. Adam Heiss tweets in, Reuben Foster, my favorite college player of all time, 100 miles per hour everywhere he went. Always a chance for a highlight hit. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
He was fun to watch.
I mean, you just and I still say some of the intricacies of his game. He wasn't just there fast because of the effort. Like he also diagnosed plays at a very high level, and like would show up and read plays, have a beat on them before he was supposed to know what was happening. It was really remarkable to watch that part of his game.
Yeah.
But then when he needed to get somewhere in a hurry, by God, he could do it. I mean,
who's your favorite player that you've covered?
I mean, still Trey
Smith.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons he's one of my favorite players, is just because I also know like the person that he is. Like he's super likable. He's easy to like. And then what he went through, obviously, and then now winning a couple Super Bowls. There's just a lot of reasons to like him. He's easy to like, but man, you talk about violence on the field, buddy. I mean, hold on a second. We got a graphic here of Zach Wiegert's menu. Offensive lineman for Nebraska. And yes, I'm trying to study this film while we're doing the show today. So Zach Wiegert, 1994 Outland Trophy winner, Lombardi Award finalist, as a tackle for the Cornhuskers. Hold on here. This graphic's coming up here in just a second. If I try to fast forward again, I'll blow past it and I'll miss it again. So I'm going to by the way, they always brag about how huge these linemen were. They all look lean compared to today's linemen. All right, here we go. Guess who's coming to dinner? Pudding, mound of spaghetti, 2 steaks, 2 chicken breasts, 1 salad, 1 bowl of grape nuts, 2 glasses of orange juice, 2 glasses of grapefruit juice. Are we saying that's one meal?
Sounds right to me.
And by the way, his face isn't fat at all, so I don't believe it. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't believe you're eating all that. I really don't. But I also think there was a lot going on at Nebraska in the early 90s.
All of which is above board. Don't you say a word.
All of it. All right, Seth's on
yeah,
hold.
by the way, like it was exclusive to Nebraska. Come on. It was just 90s football.
Fair. They did it first and better. Seth's on hold. We'll get to that on the other side. Some of you tweeting in as well, at Mac and Cube, 800-239-9569. Text in your answers. 205-834-9450. Just your favorite college football players ever to watch. Who was most enjoyable for you? More of that right after this on Mac and Cube in the morning. I will say, watching this game again, a guy, I'll throw two names out there that are not on this list for the wrong reasons. One, Lawrence Phillips. Goodness gracious, this dude running the football. I mean, it's one of the early sort of combinations of size, speed that was just unbelievable. And the other would be Cecil Collins. Not many people remember Cecil Collins. If you were in Baton Rouge in 1997 for that Auburn LSU game, you do, because the public address announcer said his name about 57 times and stretched his last name out for about 14 seconds each time he said it. So I'll tell you that Booger McFarland still says to this day, the best football player he ever played against, Cecil Collins, at any level. Dude, he's like, we lined up at inside drill, and it didn't matter what defense we called, what the rump, like, you couldn't stop him. Literally could not stop him. And they all wondered, like, why is this guy not getting more carries? Why is he not in the game? Have not seen Nebraska have a lot of success in between the tackles in this game so far. So
Not yet.
Not quite yet. We're not there yet.
But they dominated Sap.
Yeah, they did.
It's early. It's only their second drive.
I love when people say dumb things.
Well, no, it's early. I don't know what happens yet. I know that Zach Wiegert ate pudding and grape nuts and Getty and chicken. God, we should play that. John to find that. Seth is on the Higginbotham hotline. Who was your favorite player to watch, Seth?
So this one might stretch outside of favor a little bit, but the first one I really remember seeing a guy on the field and knowing who he was Takeo Spikes. I watched football with my dad and my uncles my whole life, and I remember thinking how glad I was he was on our team because he was one of the scariest looking human beings I'd ever seen in my life. Somehow his neck went above his ears.
Yeah.
Like,
you should have tried to work scout team against him.
I got a question for you, Cole. My first Auburn football game ever. I don't remember how old I was, and I'm pretty sure you would have been on that team. It was Fresno State at Auburn, and right out the gate, they crushed our kicker, and then we hung 70 on him.
So the kicker was Jarrett Holmes, and they did it intentionally.
Yeah.
So they sent a guy out there to block him, and so basically attacked him as soon as he kicked off because he was a really good kicker. I think they wanted to try to get him out of the game, try to do something like that. And there was I think there was a flag because there was a little back and forth that they had. I think Jarrett actually kind of held his own there, and then that was, I believe. The Rattays were Louisiana Tech, but that Fresno team had a really good quarterback, I want to say, that could throw the football around.
Trent Dilfer.
I don't think it was that long ago, but thanks.
David Carr.
I don't think it was not that far, not that close either. So that was 97, I think.
David Carr would have been pretty close. He came out in 2002.
Pat Hill coaching that team, another good coach at Fresno. Billy Volek and David Carr. David Carr was the backup, though.
See, I told you. Hater.
Volek, he only went
legend.
for 1,853 yards and 17 touchdowns. So
Volek out there
not.
ripping.
I thought they could throw it around a little bit, but I
Big
must have been
volley
wrong.
style.
By the way, he wasn't just quarterback. He was quarterback/punter.
Why not? Well, this is the Cordell Stewart era, so everybody was slash back then.
You
all
play
played
one,
different
you
positions.
play them all.
You all played different positions for different reasons.
That's why Cole was center/snapper.
In man on extra point.
Hey.
/tight end.
Had to
just on extra
show
point.
him who's boss. A couple others are tweeting in their favorite players all time. Kenneth Cannon goes Reggie Bush. So much for the tweet that started all this. Disregard that. Nick Stone tweets in Trey Mason, Nick Marshall combo, and Carlos Rogers. I will say Carlos Rogers was fun because
I wonder who he's a fan of.
Well, Carlos Rogers was fun because he would actually tackle people.
Oh my gosh!
At corner?
It's a foreign concept.
What?
Foreign concept that not a lot of folks have actually seen, but also very real. Johnny Brink tweets in, did you catch the Arkansas no-hitter yesterday and CWS jelly shot update and SVG wins NASCAR Mexico City race on Sunday? It's got to be AI, right? That can't be real.
Maybe he's saying Gage Wood is his favorite player.
It can't be a human.
Wait, who won on
I haven't
Sunday?
seen Gage play college football yet.
I haven't seen him.
SVG, Scott Van Gorder. Seth Van Grant.
Not too familiar.
Sean Vandergoot.
Didn't they race in Canada?
I guess.
Steve Valgorian.
Who won the NASCAR race today? That's Shane Van
I don't think
Gisberger.
there's one today.
I hope there's not one today.
No, they were in Mexico City.
He just told us that.
Yeah, I
Greg.
know, but I thought it was.
I think what he's
knew they were
asking is
at it.
why didn't you watch it? Because you thought it was today.
'Cause I support America.
In Mexico City?
That's why I didn't watch it.
It's all about location.
Better
They run
watch
that
out.
race in Charlotte.
We
I'm
changed
watching.
one name from Mexico to America. We could change another.
I
can see NASCAR coming on the air. Welcome to Americo City.
That'd be great. No,
We did catch the Arkansas no-hitter yesterday. I guess that's a hint that why have we not spent like hours talking about it? Gage Wood threw the third no-hitter in College World Series history yesterday.
should go pitch by pitch.
It was 119 of them.
Just replay it. All right, guys, and now Arkansas Murray State from last night. You just hit play. See y'all Friday on the show. We did catch it. David Reese tweets in George Teague, strip of Lamar Thomas might still be best play I've ever seen, and then came to the Cowboys. And Defending the Stars, one of my favorite paintings ever. When T.O. trying to put the ball down the middle of the star, and Teague's like, no, not going to happen. Not going to do it.
As a Cowboy fan at the time, that was a very nice moment.
Diabetic at Brett Grimes tweets in Shane Van Gisbergen. It's not even funny. Y'all just sound stupid. Was that his name, really?
Yeah.
That is his name.
That is his name.
Do we sound stupid? Don't care.
His name is stupid.
Shane, we got a podcast on the Jox YouTube page, by the way, that you're going to love. Twisted Flags?
Crossed flags.
Cross Flags.
Cross flags.
I'm sorry. Damien, why are you laughing? Ted Feely tweets in Aaron Donald, hands down. Things
Good
he
one.
did at Pitt were incredible. Why don't we remember him more at Pitt? He doesn't get enough run, I don't think, for what he did in college.
Because he played at Pitt.
Larry Fitzgerald, like
Different
he was all
receiver.
over the place.
How do you show defensive tackle highlights?
It doesn't matter when you sound stupid.
Were you tackling the read man and the quarterback on the option?
I don't disagree. I mean,
You
the guy was
sound
unbelievable.
stupid
I just
right now.
remember him being
Damien.
like, "Oh, it'll never work in the NFL." And now everybody's trying to find a Aaron Donald clone.
That sounds
Everybody.
stupid, though.
Dumb.
Stupid. Why would we talk about football?
Yeah, I know. Nobody watches football.
AC's dad tweets in Derek Thomas, David Palmer. God, David Palmer was incredible.
Think about how many tweets we would have in right now if we were talking about the Mexico City race.
Let's find out. All right, guys. On, I believe, Sunday. Or was it Saturday?
Sunday.
Sunday, I believe.
This is not even worth doing. It's not. It's not worth doing.
Stand by.
What was the
Hang on.
name of it? The Mexico City 300.
I don't care. Murphy tweets in Junior Rosegreen. Guy was a ball of mean. Did more with less. Physical and intimidating. Dark visor. Georgia over the middle. 0304. Yeah, that was still one of the biggest decapitations we've seen in college football player history. Also, Junior Rosegreen, I will say, one of the best dressed in Tiger Walk that you'll ever see.
He kept it clean.
Over and above. Like literal, like almost like he was arriving for a scene in Harlem Nights every week, but also like dressed to the T. Like did not hold back.
That's a great description.
Jim Hardy tweets in, my favorite player is Cole Cubelic, Kendall Simmons, 2 dogs on the offensive line.
Yeah.
We'll retweet that.
Yeah.
Because
Same.
we put our hands in the
Yes,
date.
sir.
And there was a time that Jim was actually the offensive line manager at Auburn when I did put my other hand in the dirt. Yes, the 4-point stance is center, not comfortable. 3-point stance, much more comfortable. Yes.
Made a difference.
But you got to get that weight out on your front hand and come off the ball.
Get out. the
3-point
front
stance,
hand.
soft. Roger Patrick Myers, the Deuce, David Palmer. I'm telling y'all, man, he did things that did not feel real. Like take Dante Hall's shiftiness with not Tyreek Hill, but like who's a notch down from Tyreek Hill speed-wise in the NFL that's in a little bit of a smaller stature? Like
Jalen Waddle.
No, I'm not going to give him that
I
either.
think
Sorry.
He's got a lot of juice.
Not going to give him that speed. David could run, but not Jalen Waddle run.
Yeah.
But with real speed. I mean, he was the human joystick before Dante Hall was the human joystick, and legit played some quarterback. Kind of had to at one point, and then did because of like David Palmer is a guy that was wasted in the 90s because David Palmer in 2018, 2022 would be legit Heisman Trophy candidate, like dual threat, playing both at different times. Like Jox Green, another one of those guys, like a little bit ahead of his time. I mean, we played Jox Green in 97. He threw a touchdown. He caught a touchdown. He ran a touchdown and had a chance to return a ball for a touchdown.
Oh, boy.
Not bad.
Like a little ahead of his time. Like nowadays, you could have gadgeted him up and done some. And Spurrier did some things with him, but it was like you remember Spurrier was the one that like, he was the first one I remember that ran the flat jet sweep motion and would turn and hand the ball to that player. We do it all the time now. It's like no big deal. But he was the first that I saw do that. So Green would take that, run with it, and then he would take like a little wide turn and he would throw it. Dude was unreal. And again, he had that kind of start, stop, and then legitimate speed also. So Ben tweets in, my parents moved us down from D.C. Kids would say, I'm Bo Jackson or I'm Cornelius Bennett. I'd say, I'm John Riggins, and then have to explain. I imagine in John Riggins' day, he was one of the more enjoyable football players to watch just because there was not a lot of running out of bounds. There was not a lot of dodging people. I mean, he pretty much ran one way.
That's hard.
Darren Pulley tweets in, how about Kerry Good? Dude was a beast. Or Mike Evans. Mike Evans fun to watch.
Yeah, buddy.
He was good.
It didn't really matter where the coverage was. He was probably going to find a way to go up and get it.
It just looked so weird. He looked like a tarantula.
He really did.
I mean, it was like he was so long. It didn't make sense. It's like, golly, you can't cover this. It never felt like he jumped high.
Right.
Never felt like he ran fast. But
he would run. He would run.
Right.
He would like
cover him.
He would leave people after he caught the ball.
Right.
He's like the ultimate galloper.
Brian tweets in, Sean Taylor, RIP. One of the guys that played his position just in a different way than probably 90% of people have played that position. Avery Mayo helping us out here. At Auburn Aves 24, appreciate you. At Mac and Cube, go ahead and tell you the race was terrible. Just keep talking college football. Loving this segment right now.
Let's go.
Oops.
Let's go.
Yeah, but we sound kind of stupid too.
Well,
that's fine. I probably should know who won the NASCAR race. If NASCAR was like widely consumable,
who won cricket this weekend?
The team from England.
Who won beach volleyball?
Florida State.
I was talking pros. The ATP tour.
There's no longer amateurism.
What was it? We have like the liftoffs for the U.S. Open. What are they? Memphis this week, Atlanta this week. Who won the tennis tournament this weekend? The one that I don't know what it's called either.
I mean, Roland Garros?
I'm just proving how bad we are at sports.
We don't know sports. Don't know them.
Who won the Rocket Mortgage Tour this weekend?
What is that?
Isn't that golf?
Minor league golf.
That's Corn Ferry.
Same thing.
Don't know.
Is it not the Rocket Mortgage Tour now?
They have a Rocket Mortgage
Hooters Tour. Same thing. You know what I'm talking about. Quit making me sound stupid. I've already done that enough today.
I think Hooters is bankrupt now.
Oh, man.
So
that hit Damian hard, by the way.
Look what happens when you get out the game, man.
That got him in the gut right there.
Inflation,
like that really hit him.
When you add salad to Hooters menu,
that was a legit letdown right there.
You knew it was going downhill.
So much it hasn't been since they went bankrupt, but are bankrupt.
I don't think inflation has ever been their problem.
Oh no,
I'm sure.
like that.
All right, we will continue. We got some texts coming in, calls coming in as well. 800-239-9569, your favorite college football player ever. We continued the stupidity right after this on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Appreciate you guys tuning in. It's 8:40 right here on Jox 94.5, 800-239-9569. Favorite college football players you watched in your lifetime. Any reason. That's what's great about the segment. Other than being stupid for not knowing who SVG is in NASCAR. I'm going to have to learn I know SVP.
SVP, that's Scott Van Pelt.
Same guy.
I know Rob Van Dam, but I don't know SVG.
Yeah, I just went down a rabbit hole of Nebraska starting quarterbacks. Nebraska had a starting quarterback named Monte Cristo.
It's a hell of a name.
Imagine the NIL capabilities nowadays.
In 1998.
Unstoppable.
Bobby Newcomb, Eric Crouch, and Monte Cristo.
Let's go.
Now you know why Eric Crouch played quarterback in college.
Monte Cristo
Also
might be
good
the
at running the
greatest
triple
quarterback
option, but
name ever.
Ever?
That's amazing.
I don't know. I'll go Diesel Dart.
It's up there.
It's at least in the mix.
It's up there.
I mean, the second you name your son Monte Cristo, you know you already have picked out his.
He's gonna be rich forever.
You've already picked out his nickname in college.
Do you think
he's the count?
Do you think the dad had one when he was born, waiting to put it in?
It's amazing. I love it.
Oh, Monte.
Hey guys, before you leave this hospital, he's going to have a name. Well,
that's the first thing that popped up.
Guys, I got an idea. Hear me out. Monty. Sir, your last name's Cristo.
And
I like my cigars.
Even better.
It'd be like if my last name was Red, we would name him Marlboro. Spring weather in Alabama can be unpredictable. That's why you need the reliability of a Train, voted America's most trusted HVAC brand. Right now, you can receive up to a 10-year warranty on parts and labor on select Train home comfort systems. Find out more at Train.com. It's hard to stop a Train. Unfortunately for our guy on Twitter, you're about to start seeing some highlights of Warren Sapp in the backfield against Nebraska because it's,
working them.
Well, got worked, basically. But I'm stupid, so it doesn't really matter.
Confirmed.
Golden Domer wants to chime in on favorite players he watched. Domer, welcome into the show. You're on the Higginbotham Hotline.
Top of the morning, gentlemen. How are y'all?
Great. How are you?
Doing well. You know, I think what we're talking about is something that is a major factor is your age. And I think Greg kind of hit on this. I think, it's kind of like me being a Notre Dame fan. Notre Dame has had players that's come along that probably were actually better players than the ones I'm about to tell you. But it's just, you're kind of in that golden era of your age when you're kind of in high school or late middle school where those players are like gladiators and titans. And you just always kind of see them in a different light than you do when you get 25 and 30 and you realize that they're, your age or younger. So my favorite team, and it has many of my favorite players, was definitely the 2005 or 2006 Notre Dame team. And that team just had personality. There's just the players on that team. They may not have been the most talented in Notre Dame history, but they just had a lot of reasons to like them, a lot of personality. And they kind of were one of the first teams that kind of turned Notre Dame around within my lifetime because before then I was dealing with the Bob Davies and Tyrone Willinghams. We went think about this, guys. Tyrone Willingham. We went 7 games without scoring an offensive touchdown, and I think we were like 8-0. And then here come Charlie Weiss, Brady Quinn, and then the guy that I want to tell you about that I think he kind of gets overshadowed, and he broke a lot of barriers, was Jeff Samardzija. I mean, guys, I remember against Pittsburgh, Dave Wansat, they started out like number 20, Notre Dame was unranked. I remember when they ran out on the field, I literally said, who is this goofy-looking white guy? Because we got this 6'5", long-haired, lanky white receiver. In that era, you did not have white receivers, and he did not play slot receiver. He was the outside. And I just remember that guy.
He played baseball, too.
Yeah. Oh, he in Major League. I mean, that's the thing that people forget about him because I think people forget about him because he didn't go to the NFL. But this is the thing. Think about this. This dude had 2,500 yards and 30 touchdowns in 2 years. 2 years.
Who is the guy?
Allow me to introduce you to a gentleman named Joe Jaravicious who played at Penn State.
Barrier
unbroken.
And he was our starting pitcher at Notre Dame. The guy was he had such personality, the shark. I mean, he literally and then you had, I'll say this, on that same team.
Who is the safety that also was a boxer?
Tom Zibikowski. That's my other guy. And see, look, Kyron Williams.
That's why I love the guy. Couldn't cover to save his life, but he boxed, by God.
Coverage. I agree. But look, this is the thing. I was about to tell you, Kyle Hamilton, 10 times better of a player than Tommy Zibikowski. But there was just something about Tom.
I don't think anyone's debating that. No one's.
Ain't
no question.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is if I'm listing my favorite players, I'm putting Tom. I'm putting Tom over Kyle. And Kyle may honestly be one of the best safeties, honestly, like in college, like the last 20 years. But I'm putting Tom ahead of him. But this is the thing that people forget about Tom Zibikowski. He was, and I don't know how, I don't know how, 4'6" guy, elite punt returner. He
was a really good kick returner, yeah.
He changed the game in that Notre Dame USC game with that kick return for a touchdown. And this is the thing about him: he didn't juke out nobody. He just smashed through these guys.
Well, sometimes just getting north and south on a punt return is the most effective way to manage it. Also,
and that's what he was.
Give your special teams coordinator a little bit of credit there, because that also could be set up in certain ways that makes it more advantageous or realistic to get those positive yards. Let's give credit where credit could be due. I don't remember watching them.
Yeah, and I remember there was a play we were playing USC, and Dwayne Jarrett came across the middle, and Tommy Zibikowski literally just punched him in the face and tackled him. And from that moment on, I said, okay, that's my guy.
Dude just pulled down a trap from the backside, like just came back behind the center block. Hang up on him, I'm done. Warren Sapp's dominating this game. He literally just walked down a trap from the backside. Center tried to block back on him. He beat him upfield, redirected flat down the line of scrimmage, makes the play. Like, what are we doing? Why did I put this on like I doubted myself at any point in time? Why did I? Because I'm stupid. That's why. The next guy was right. I'm stupid because I doubted something that I actually watched with my own eyes. Deontay is in Birmingham. Welcome in, Deontay.
Good morning, guys.
By the way, I'm clipping every tackle and every penetration. They're all going on Twitter, every single one of them.
What's up, man?
Go, Deontay.
Roll Tide, by the way.
You too.
Roll Tide.
I might get some backlash for this, man, by me being a Bama fan, but the greatest guy that I ever seen watch in my era, I would have to say Peter Ward, because of the things that he did. He was so electric. It's like when you watch Florida State or tune into their games, you know he go do something electric. So it's like being a Bama fan, you couldn't wait till the Bama game was over to get to go and watch Florida State, because you know Peter Ward's gonna do something amazing.
Well, you know what's funny? Like, I feel like, how old are you, Deontay?
I'm 42.
Okay, so we're pretty close. Like, I'm 37. I think everybody, in a weird way, in that era, was kind of a Florida State fan. I'm not saying if they played against Alabama, you'd root for Florida State against Alabama. But they were kind of like, Miami was the villains. Florida in some ways was the villains, but everybody kind of liked Bobby Bowden.
Kind of liked him.
Everyone loved Bobby Bowden. Everybody loved Peter Wark. Like, everyone loved Wark Dunn. Like, I remember growing up and everybody was a Florida State fan in a weird way.
Their guys, they had so many guys that became folk heroes, like Chris Winkie, Dan Kendra, who came in as I don't think we had 5 stars back then. Actually, I think he was like a 4-star. They actually called him blue chips back then. Like a blue chip quarterback who leg pressed 1,900 pounds. He busted a blood vessel in his eye leg pressing in the gym. He had a pet alligator, and they tried to put him at fullback. It didn't really work. I mentioned Pooh Bear Williams earlier. All of Florida State had all these dudes that were like literal comic book heroes playing college football. Like, they just didn't believe they were real. And then Bobby Bowden was like the literal Harry Carey of college football. Like, he was just so lovable. Everybody wanted to see him do well. So it's kind of a good back and forth there, because they would then become Free Shoes University and become hated by many people after things would continue to go on. But Peter Wark was unstoppable, man. And I'll go to one for me, following up Peter Wark. Like, if we did a top 10, he might be in my top 5. Most enjoyable college football players ever that I watched play, Anquan Bolden would be on that list.
Yeah, Anquan Bolden was amazing.
He only goes into the bowl game, and they're like, hey, bro, we need you to play quarterback today. Okay, cool. I'll go out there in the bowl game and play quarterback, and has a pretty good day. You talk about going over the middle of the field, and did not care.
He should be in the Hall of Fame.
Did not care.
He should be in the NFL Hall of Fame. If you look at his numbers, your mind would be blown at how ridiculously productive Anquan Bolden was in the NFL.
Yeah,
Before we look at his numbers, can we watch this little trap play here? That's not it. Sorry.
He was strong,
got
too.
Cut backside.
Anyways,
Anquan Bolden was ridiculous.
Anquan Bolden was a great player.
He was like a more juiced up Hines Ward is what he was. And Hines Ward is like my favorite offensive Steeler of all time. But he was Hines Ward with more juice is what he was. He played the same way. Did a lot of the same things. But yeah, fun to watch, man. I don't think there's any doubt about it. All right, we'll get to a little bit of a break, come back, and talk more about how Warren Sapp is dominating this game next on Mac and Cube in the morning. One guy that I wanted to bring up, your thoughts on the sprint lead draw in which you saw Sapp with the TFL.
With a great D tackle, I'm probably not going sprint lead draw. If I have a D at D end playing super vertical, I like sprint lead draw. I'm great with that, but not necessarily the D tackle. That's an absolute
Could
animal.
you just give us your comments on Sapp getting worked on that play?
Dead. Whoever said Sapp got worked in that, seriously, you have lost all rights and privileges to the show. We need to somehow find a way onto the FM radio dial to make sure, or the streaming app. We need to
just
figure out where they're at, we need to not allow that IP address because it is the least accurate thing that's been said on the show.
I don't think Nebraska had a
time.
drop back, by the way. It's play action or die. Like there was no drop back. They just that was not a part of their game. It did not take place. Quickly tell our listeners about Polar Bear Services.
Well, they can do so many things for you. I love Colin West and the guys. They honestly have been just an amazing, amazing addition to my call log because I call them all the time. It's like, hey, bud, I got this going on. I got this going on. They can just do so many things for you. I've really appreciated just how much they've been able to do around my house, whether it's with the electrical. They can also now, we had a flicker of power lost for a moment yesterday. I really want that whole home generator. When I install one, I am 100% calling Polar Bear Services. I also look at what they've done for plumbing. They've recently repaired a leaky shower for me. They fixed that. The HVAC system has been their bread and butter for a long time. They fixed that at my home multiple times. Really appreciate what they've done for me. And now with triple digits coming around, triple dig on the thermometer outside yesterday, by the way, I need to know that my whole home system is running smoothly. That's why I trust my friends at Polar Bear Services. So remember, if you got a problem with your electrical, plumbing, heat, or air, pick up the phone and call the Bears, 205-497-BEAR. It's 497-BEAR.
A couple of different answers coming in from different folks. The question was your favorite college football player to watch. Damien, your thoughts on the Warren Sapp pressure we just showed, working through a double team on a play action.
Right, and I want to know from an offensive lineman's perspective, to get worked on a double team, is it demoralizing? Does it hurt?
Yeah.
You have help, and even the help can't help.
No, but sometimes double teams can work against you. I look in past
this was
coverage
not one
sometimes.
of those. This was not one of those.
Not one of those. Not a good example.
But you're right.
Simply citing.
It can work against you because you can lean too heavy to one side. I will say quarterback kind of drifted to the opposite direction, which towards the end of the play
here we go.
worked
Blame
against
the
him.
freaking quarterback.
No,
It's his fault for the
wasn't his
O-line getting
fault.
their absolute tail kicked. That's
exactly
about
what
right.
happened.
Our quarterback shed a little too far to the right. He was too deep, coach.
Sapp just
He
got
was too
worked.
deep,
Really was
coach.
the problem there.
I'm about done with offensive linemen.
Done.
In the backfield on
quarterback
this play,
set
too, they ran away
too
from
far
him.
to his right, as if that's his fault for getting his tail kicked. Look, now, it's also not the O-line's
Got
fault.
worked, actually, is what it was. He was worked.
Because he got oxygen on the sideline.
Yes. Worked.
He's chasing the quarterback and tailback down
Oh.
all play. That was rough.
Well, we'll have more on that game and how it went for the Miami defense.
I love that you've spent the whole show
Specifically Sapp.
watching a game from 30
I have a whole
years
another
ago.
hour to watch more of it, too. Jamie Bailey tweeting in, my favorite AU player of all time, Heath Evans, great guy. Heath could tote the rock too. We got another Danny Werfel coming in. We have Wendy Walker tweeting in, Dick Hightower, 1951 All-American SMU. Second, Derrick Henry, RTR.
Hi.
After the SVG, are we supposed to know all of these?
I'm familiar with RTR.
I know that one.
Yeah, we know that one.
Okay.
People watch them.
That's a fact.
No matter where they are. Russell Terry, as a kid, my two favorite players were Ricky Moore, Howard Cross at Bama. As I grew older, it changed, but I worship those guys. Howard Cross, you hear stories about him. The dude is unbelievable. Monty Pearson tweeting back in, my opinion is a 10-year-old kid at the game. Check out the fourth quarter. Listened to the show for a long time. Didn't realize you'd be so sensitive.
It's just a word choice of got worked. Like, it's just hard.
Well,
of course,
it's typical of today's generation.
Like,
it's
need
like
to see it.
Babe Ruth's trash because he struck out at one time.
Not the 785,000.
Those don't matter. He's trash. He struck out that one time.
Well, that Giancarlo Stanton must be absolutely awful.
Listen, Monty, we're gonna have fun with it because it might not be true. Just like many things that I say are stupid, like not knowing SVG. Aaron Langston tweets in, Janikowski was the Florida State guy for me.
Stan Van Gundy is SVG.
That's who it was. I didn't know he was in NASCAR
That's
now.
who it is.
I didn't know he was in NASCAR now.
Stan Van Gundy won the Mexico Open.
Yep.
You sound stupid.
The Mexico City Open closed wheel with the car of the next generation.
There we go.
Don't act like the next gen car didn't rip.
It's not Salvatore Guerrera?
No.
Oh.
Stan Van Gundy. He's out of coaching.
Yeah.
Scalable vector graphics is an XML-based vector graphics format for defining two-dimensional graphics, having support for interactivity and animation.
Yeah.
And I sound stupid.
Boys to Men, ABC, SVG, East
It was
Coast
DVD.
Family. Okay.
By the way.
There's definitely another SVG.
Couldn't tell you.
I can't think of any off the top of my
It's all
head.
good.
It's definitely Stan Van Gundy.
Damien's trying to save you from sounding stupid.
Most popular SVG.
Stan Van Gundy. Couldn't tell you another one.
That's all I got. But we'd love for you to tweet more in.
Sebastian Van Gorder.
He was good too, back in his day.
Was he?
Yep. You're going to have to wait for more SVGs because one thing you never have to wait for, Greg, is your dental care.
That's because Family Dental has taken care of the urgent care office you can see in the same day. Several locations to make it easy on you. They can get you in on Fridays and Saturdays. Most insurance plans are accepted, and they're accepting patients of all ages. So schedule an appointment today in Hoover, Homewood, Fultondale, Trussville, and Alabaster. You can call them at 874-9605. That's Family Care Dental, 874-9605.
You obviously can tweet in at Mac and Cube. You can also text in 205-834-9450. Janikowski also coming into the text line over there, Damien.
He was. Sebastian Janikowski is one of the texts coming in. I didn't know. I just didn't know he was that popular. Of all the Florida
SJK.
State, yeah, that's exactly what they called him.
I mean, he was a beast. I seen it live, but
yeah,
I don't know if he's still show up on the list.
Of all those Florida State guys,
Well, a lot of directions we could go that I'm going to not go.
Yeah. We got Champ Bailey as one of somebody's favorite.
Are you talking about
players.
just football players?
Yeah.
Champ Bailey is there. The guy lined up at receiver, corner, safety, return kicks. I've told you guys a story before. We played him 97, and I think he played 108 plays in the game, which now doesn't – I mean, offenses are playing 90 plays now, so it's not a big deal. And Coach Trickett, y'all tired after playing 62 plays. He played 108 plays. Y'all are so soft. And this guy's out there playing 108 beep plays. And y'all go 68 plays, and you're huffing and puffing on the sideline, tired, soft as Charmin. I can't believe you let this little guy prove how soft you are. He played 108 plays, guys. Also 108 less pounds. But
yeah,
it happens.
Drake takes in. He has Rex Grossman.
Dude, Rex Grossman could sling it. Tyrannosaurus Rex, Jabbar Gaffney, Dude, there was one play, I will never forget this. We were watching Florida play somebody, and we were watching the other defense. And we ended up playing them twice that year, but they were on offense. And obviously, we would never watch the offense. Maybe in Tennessee, somebody else. And Grossman is on the opposite 45. So he's on the 45 going across the 50 in. And he drops back off this play action and throws the ball, and it's an overthrow, and he's on his back foot. And I was like, wait a second. I don't think our coach was in there at the time. It would have been Hugh Knoll. I was like, hold on. And I had to click, and I'm running back, and everybody else is in there. Was like, what's the deal? I'm like, guys, he's throwing this ball away. And threw it over the crossbar. So he drops back off of play action. There's a little pressure coming. He's on his back foot.
He just launches.
And he knew he had a deep route, but you could tell he couldn't see, so he's going to get hit. And he was just throwing it away, and it was not like a punt. I mean, it was launch angle would have been like 27, 23 on that thing, and threw it over the crossbar.
Stop.
That's a can.
And I'm just like, and everybody else kind of, because nobody else paid attention to the football, really.
Right.
I was like, dude, he just threw this ball away. Watch this. And I mean, it just didn't feel human. Like, didn't feel like he should have been able to pull that off. It's just unbelievable. But yeah, he had a cannon, man. He was fun to watch.
Somebody takes in Derrick Henry and Amari Cooper. Somebody else takes in Eric Berry.
Eric Berry would destroy people.
Greg?
Yeah, he hit me pretty hard on the third play of the game.
Uh-oh. What happened?
Lane Kiffin cut our mics and made us take our headphones off, so I had to call the first 3 plays off the cuff by myself because I had no communication with our offensive coordinator upstairs. Good thing I knew my first 2 plays. I paid attention to the game planning meeting, and I knew our first third down 7-10. But they brought strong safety blitz, which they hadn't done all year. Amazing how all of a sudden our headphones go out, and we have no freaking answers for what it was that they were trying to do. And yeah, strong safety blitz for the first time all year hits me right in the back. Luckily, I was in the process of trying to release the football, so it was incomplete. But yeah, 3 and out on the first drive. Amazingly, their headphones came back right when their offense got on the field.
Makes
Isn't that
sense.
weird?
Makes sense.
TFL on a shovel pass.
Warren Sapp.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but he was getting worked. Somebody else texted in.
Why are
Greg?
you so sensitive, Damien?
I'm not. I didn't see him play. I saw him as a Tampa Bay Buck. I didn't see him as a Miami Hurricane.
I probably got worked for Colts, Falcons.
Yeah, that's why he's got a gold jacket, because he was getting worked. Somebody else takes in, Greg, somebody that you know, Patrick Peterson. Cooked him, didn't you?
Couple touchdowns against him. No big deal.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's fine.
Michael Kirby tweets in, did Rick Trickett really sound like Hank Hill? In my brain, he did.
All offensive line coaches sound like Hank Hill.
A lot more expletives there, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's funny is I love how everybody is now finally catching on to that. Like, just offensive line coach is just supposed to be gruff and Southern. You have to be those 2 things. If you're not gruff and Southern, you can't coach O-line.
Wait, where's this
in
guy?
Our eyes, mentally.
John, where does this guy play that you sent this in?
Hank, Arlen?
I'm sorry?
Oh, they do that.
He drop kicks it?
Yeah.
This guy should be an internet sensation right now. Oh, he got
worked.
Oh, he can't do that. I'm just impressed that he got the ball out in front of him.
Yeah. I mean,
this is like Arena 2?
I think so, yeah.
I will say that's what you get for tiptoeing down there on coverage.
Yeah.
Keep your head on a swivel.
Find out.
It's like Coach Newton always told us. Keep your head on a swivel.
Jonathan texted in, the Dutchman texted in, Antoine Randall.
You go back and look at some of the stuff he did in Indiana. Played quarterback. Legit played quarterback at Indiana. He was he was Anquan Bolden, Hines Ward for, I think, some not so great Indiana teams. So not a lot of people paid attention to him. Dude could play ball. Could absolutely play ball.
We got Barry Sanders. Somebody texted in Barry Sanders, Bo Jackson, and Herschel Walker.
Yeah, Bo and Herschel, I think, are a little ahead of when we could actually watch them. But if we would have been able to consume them the way we consumed guys that we're discussing, or even now, they would absolutely be towards the top of this list. I don't think there's any doubt about it.
We got some love for Kenny and David Irons.
David Irons was solid, but Kenny Irons was actually really good. I mean, when you get off the bus for Tiger Walk and you look at the ESPN camera going into Death Valley, the one in Baton Rouge, and flash up what some people think is a peace sign, but then you actually mouth it and say that you're going for 200 that day, and then you go for 200 that day, we'll allow it.
Not bad.
You can be towards the top of that list.
Not bad.
He ran hard, man.
Yeah, he did.
Not a big human being either.
Yeah,
he ran hard.
Ryan texted in Al Wilson.
Al Wilson was one of those guys that brought, like, he just oozed emotion on the field. Yes, he made plays. He was a great linebacker. But also one of the guys, like, watch this Miami defense right here. Like, I'm thinking what I would have thought when I lined up and saw Ray Lewis 5 yards away from me.
Yeah.
Jersey tucked all the way up under. Not an ounce of fat on the belly. Black visor on the white-on-white face mask and helmet.
Yeah.
All just beat to hell. And you're just sitting there going, it's probably not going to end well for me. We'll give it a shot, though. Probably going low early on old Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
Probably going to go for the cut early. Try to slow you down just a smidge.
He was really good.
Al Wilson, same way. Like, just the shoulder pads, the big neck roll underneath his jersey. Just looked like a dude that you probably would rather not have to block that day when you saw him in his uniform, is what I would say he looked like.
Somebody else takes in and says, I hate saying this as a Vol fan, but Percy Harvin was unbelievable.
Golly.
Greg?
He's a great football player. Like an amazing football player.
What's his record against you?
1-1. Well, against me as a starter?
Yeah.
0-1.
Attaboy. Let him know. Somebody
Actually, he might have been gone by then.
Even better. He's scared of you.
He might have been gone in 9. I can't remember.
He could play.
He was a great player.
We got Jonathan Allen.
God, I love watching Jonathan Allen play football. I mean, I've told you guys a story before because it's like when I first saw him, it was against Tennessee. And I think the score, I think, I could be wrong here. I think it was the game that Jarrett Garantano probably should have died. Because there were multiple players that had a 7 or 8 yard head start on him and absolutely not even looked at, much less touched, that just pounded him into the grass. And he just kept getting up and kept getting up. And I'm just thinking, I'm even questioning if this guy should get up again. And then in comes this dude, like 93 late in the game, looks like he weighed about 245. And all of a sudden he's swim move. And you're like, whoa, hold on a second. And then he's like, strike, shed. And I'm like, wait a minute now. You're like, this guy might be the next guy. And then obviously, he was the next guy. And then the play against A&M, I think, is one everybody will remember when he jumps over the block and forces the fumble. Like, this dude was unbelievable.
He was a great player, and just a part of why I love him so much. He is one of my favorite players I ever covered. Part of why I love him so much, the type of guy he was.
One of the best humans of all time.
You know what I mean? Like, that to me, having great players is one thing. Having a guy that is a tone setter and that everybody else is going to follow. And if you don't follow, he's going to punch you in the face, and you don't want those big hands punching you in the face. Like, he's just a culture. He's an absolute culture creator. And that's why I love Jonathan Allen far more than what he did on the football field, more the type of culture he helped create at Alabama in his time there.
Jonathan texted in Trent Richardson.
I mean, at Bama, he seemed untackleable. Is that a word?
Yeah, I'll allow it.
I mean, I don't really care much about like the transition or carryover or whatever, but at Alabama, people literally bounced off of him and he just kept going.
He was incredible at Alabama. And he was one of the more fun guys to be around too. I mean, just a great, great kid.
But he's one of those guys too, physically, kind of like just he didn't look the same. He didn't look right. Like his calves were bigger than most guys' quads.
He was
and
enormous.
You're like, well, he's not going to have speed, and then all of a sudden he'd be down the sideline.
But he was built so he was so stocky.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was he was kind of built a little like Ricky Williams, frankly. Like just so
kind of
stocky.
Doug Martin sort of.
Yeah, like muscle hamster. Like he wasn't 6 foot anywhere near it. But he just ran low to the ground and just he's a bowling ball, and just would run through contact. Like it was always fun to kind of watch guys like that.
Yeah. Anybody else coming in, Damian?
Yeah, we got some Ronnie Brown and Cadillac love. We've got Eddie Jackson. I was a big Eddie Jackson fan. He was so smooth. We got a Nick Fairley.
God, Nick Fairley.
He was great every third
when the
play.
light switch was on. Sometimes, though, it's like you said, Bobby Bowden had different rules for the kicker. Like sometimes you'll allow a guy still being really fun to watch when it's every 3 plays, when that's your every 3 plays.
Yes.
You know.
There's no denying that. He's a great player.
We got Colt Brennan, Hawaii legend. He can spin it.
Yeah, no doubt. Had the visor going, like the mirror visor.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when Hawaii kind of changed their uniforms around a little bit. Had a little bit of a better look.
He could spin it, man.
Yeah, man.
Golly, he could spin it. First college game ever was against Hawaii in 06. And I was redshirt. I didn't play or anything. But, I mean, he had us on the ropes. Like, we were pretty fortunate to win that game in Tuscaloosa. It was no joke. They were legit.
All right. So that's your favorite college football player ever. Avery Mayo tweeting in Brad Lester.
Number 1.
He was so fun to watch. Didn't run away from contact. A good college running back. Nick Jones tweets in, look, LeVar Arrington in the 90s was terrifying.
I think the number was just so
that
scary.
Helped a lot.
You know what
Number
I mean?
11
Like
helped a lot.
That's one of the earliest linebackers that I can remember wearing like a quarterback number. And 11 was like just freaky. He was a good one. I'm trying to think of like
what's the best linebacker number?
52.
I mean, traditional or college?
What do you believe to be the best linebacker number of all time? If you could be put into like a physical remake of Ray Lewis or Takeo Spikes or LeVar Arrington, what number are you wearing?
I mean,
11 works, by the way.
11's a great one. I mean, it's
it
a
worked
really
for Parsons,
good one. It
worked for Arrington. It's worked for all of them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a guy. What is Colin Simmons wearing?
I think he wears 11.
Yeah, I was gonna say he wears 11, but Anthony Hill wears 1. I think 1.
In the middle too.
Like if you're a linebacker wearing 1, like
Jesse Armstead wore 1 at Miami.
I mean, that's a good one. I still think like your traditional linebacker, like I'll always think 51 is the most hardcore number. Like
51,
traditional
51 big time.
51. I mean, like Dick Butkus. That to me is kind of the quintessential linebacker number. I'm always privy to double numbers. I love 55.
I will say Michael Barrow 56 in this game. It's a strong
56
look.
is a good one too. I mean, LT. I mean, what more do you need other than LT?
Nothing.
I mean,
nothing else.
You got 56, like you're good.
I mean, Derek Thomas made 58 look pretty good. I guess that's kind of the point too. Is like sometimes the player probably makes the number look better than it is.
58 is a god awful number, but Derek Thomas,
He
you
made
can
it
put him
look
in. You can put him
incredible.
in 62, which
He
I
might
think
have
is
could have
still
worn
the worst
49
number.
and look good. He might have could have worn 49.
39 is the worst number, and I think
It's
he
up
could have
there,
worn
yeah.
39. He would have been fine.
Wouldn't have mattered.
You could have put him in 70, any of the 70s numbers. He would have been fine. Like it just didn't matter with him.
No, there are certain guys I don't think it mattered what number they wore. It was going to look good, and they were going to make it look good.
Manti Te'o wore 5. 5's a good one.
That's not a bad number.
5's
though,
a
but
good number.
Like what you're referencing right there, like Michael Irvin is a great example of that. Michael Irvin wore 47.
47. Think about that.
At receiver.
It's a top 5 worst number in football. Or actually, you know what? Any jersey. Give me a sport that 47's good in.
Baseball's fine.
Oh, really? Best 47 of all time in baseball.
I can't think of one off the top of my head, but
like Kent
if you
Tekulve,
put it on a baseball,
like Dan Quisenberry, I can't give you a 47.
If you put it on the bet, all right. If you put it on a baseball jersey, it doesn't look as bad.
I will admit that, but it also doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good.
I mean,
like imagine telling somebody like
AK-47. Andre Kirilenko should have known that was number 47.
Andy Pettit.
Glavin.
Oh, Andy Pettit wore 46.
Glavin.
Yeah. Glavin wore 47?
Yeah.
See? Not bad.
Congratulations.
Yeah. No.
But a receiver wearing 47. Are you going to trust them?
Receiver wearing
best
47
major
is
leaguer all-time 47. They have Glavin on here.
47.
Oh, Mel Blount wore 47. I forgot about that for the Steelers. It didn't look bad on him. He would destroy you.
Johnny Cueto.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Who?
Total Recall?
What?
Yeah.
Cal Quintrell.
Here's some substantial 47s. Joey Browner, John Morris. I'm trying to find Cedric Mack, Jerry Holmes, Will Dimps. Yeah, Kiko Alonso, John McGraw, Tuggs' brother, Rudy Redmond, Dick James. Yeah, I got nothing for 47.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's up there. It's an all-time bad number. Michael Irvin made it look good in college.
Yeah, no, Michael Irvin, he could have put him in anything. It didn't matter.
But 47.
47, that's a tough one.
Ooh.
There got to be. Has anybody ever asked him that? There's got to be something behind that. Like why?
Because he could.
Not another TFL.
Probably my favorite. He's probably my favorite football player of all time. In pros is Michael Irvin. So like, I really don't care.
But you know him as 88.
But you wear the big 88.
Yeah.
What did Hot Hand say in Little Giants? I want Michael Irvin number, the big 88. That's all you need.
That's it. Don't need anything else.
88 is sick.
88 and out the gate. Shout out to Wimp Sanderson.
Bromberg's also an easy choice, Craig.
Correct. And Bromberg's, it's just so incredible. When you walk in the door, you just understand immediately why they've been serving this community for nearly 200 years. Just the level of selection, the level of expertise within the sales staff, and just the quality of the items that you're purchasing as well. It's just a different level. It's an elevated experience when you shop at Bromberg's. It's wedding season too. A lot of people getting married this time of year. A lot of people registered at Bromberg's. Go and check it out today. You can get that lasting memento that will be remembered and cherished by the bride and groom for many, many years. With graduation having just gone down, maybe you want to buy a great graduation gift for your son or daughter heads off to college. Maybe you want to go and get a natural diamond because you're thinking about popping the question this year. It's really amazing. Go and check out the gold, silver, natural diamond jewelry. The platinum jewelry that they have in some cases is one of a kind, and an incredible watch selection as well. You can always go and shop online. You can take a peek at what they have at Brombergs.com, but the experience is really in the store when you go to Brombergs in Mountain Brook Village or at the Summit.
All right, we'll get to a break, come back. More on college football, a couple different directions that we wanted to go we haven't been able to get to yet. We'll do that next. Mac and Cube in the morning. I showed you a clip of Ray Lewis in the break. Now you see what I was saying about you line up to run inside zone and you got to come off the combo block on that guy.
Good luck.
Find another plan. Plan B better be ready. Better have plan B ready to go if that's going to be where you're going to head with that one. Shohei last night, Greg, Dodgers get the win 6-3. He goes 1 inning, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 earned run. They didn't hit him hard. Looked like he was a little amped up, pulled the ball a little bit. He was, left side of the plate, going in the dirt a couple of times. It just felt like he was kind of pressing a little bit, overthrowing some, but it's to be expected. But I thought he looked fine. I mean, I thought he looked like ironed some of the kinks out, and he's going to be that dude again. I mean, it was really cool to watch because obviously there was a lot of buildup. I had the broadcast on about 10 minutes before the game started, so that was pretty much all Joe Davis and the guys were talking about. But it was just cool to see him back out there, and then hearing how Kershaw, Roberts, everybody was just basically saying, "Hey, man, we're a fan today." Like Karros was on the call too. He's like, "I'm just a fan today, man. Like I just want to see this dude throw."
Yeah,
and I think everybody felt that way watching it.
He's still got nasty stuff. I mean,
he's throwing 98 with movement.
When you watch him, it's just nasty. I mean, I don't really know how else to describe it. The guy still has just absolute electric juice. And it's just, he's so long that the ball just tails so much. And he left a couple over the plate for sure. But he didn't really get hit hard. Did give up a couple hits and then earned a run, but I don't feel like he got hit hard at all. And then, you know what? That 1 run made no difference because he, I think, went 2 for 4 with a couple RBIs. So the guy's just ridiculous.
I think we kind of discount like his stature at times. 6'4", 210. Pretty like a bigger dude than you would probably think.
He's a big boy.
Yeah. But that was cool to see last night. Also yesterday in College World Series, Gage Wood throws the 3rd no-hitter in College World Series history. Arkansas 3-0 over Murray State. Murray State eliminated. Hogs get to 49-15 on the season. In 75 years of the College World Series, there have been, here we go, baseball stats again, 47 low-hit games pitched.
What does low hit mean?
There you go. The question everybody was wondering because it's just kind of dumb to even say. But
wow.
When you sound stupid, you sound stupid. And I've been able to pull that off the entire show.
Heck yeah.
Low hit games, no hits, which I don't feel like you would need to reference that as a low hit since it's technically a no hit.
Correct.
1 hit or 2 hits.
Gotcha.
So in 75 years of the College World Series, there have been 47 of those. There have been 3 no hitters. Do you want to take a guess at any of the others?
No. I know that there was a perfect game taken deep into it in 99. That was what I learned yesterday from watching the broadcast.
Yeah, and there have been other no-hitters in the postseason, but just not in the actual College World Series. So the first one came in 1950. Jim Eller for Texas against Tufts University.
Tufts made to the College World Series?
Tufts made to the College World Series.
Heck yeah.
Yep. You know what their mascot is?
Tigers.
Jumbo the elephant.
Got it.
You didn't know that?
Should have.
Does that mean are they the Tusks?
Sounds right.
It says their official mascot, a male African elephant at one point in time, a real one. See, Greg Byrne, this can be done.
Yeah. That's great. Just bring an elephant. We've seen what happened with Bevo a couple times. Just bring an elephant out there.
The next would come in 1960, Jim Wixon for Oklahoma State against North Carolina. So.
Tufts, they are the Jumbos.
Love that.
Pretty awesome, by the way. How's their offensive line looking this year? I feel like it ought to be pretty good.
Like elephants on parade. Just everybody just work.
All of them.
Love it.
Yeah. So College World Series, you had a delay with UCLA and LSU yesterday. So you had a little bit of weather that hit yesterday in Omaha and obviously kind of forced to drag some. But you'll get that suspended game, UCLA and LSU today, and then you'll get Louisville and Oregon State as well. So we'll see exactly how that one goes for Louisville and Oregon State. And obviously LSU up 5-3 when that game was suspended in the bottom of the third. That's been back and forth. UCLA jumped on LSU quick last night. Then LSU bounced back with a 3-run homer, took the lead. And
that was a heck of a first inning.
Yeah.
Most runs scored, I believe, in the first inning of a College World Series game in quite some time, they had said last night.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so I was able to locate one of last year's preseason magazines, and interested in who they had in the college football playoff, and then obviously who didn't make it and who did instead. Does that tell us anything about this year's college football playoff? We'll run through it, discuss it a little bit on the other side as we move to different portions of college football. But if you're going to move out of your home, Greg, who should you call?
Be Crocker Movers, a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys. You can trust them in your home. Whether it's your whole home packed up move, your company headquarters moved across country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room, these guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you purchased and need to get to your home. So call or visit them online today for a free quote. The website's crockermovingservices.com. It's crockermovingservices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Service for your next move.
Are there projections out there that we can trust? We'll discuss that next on Mac and Cube in the morning. Incredible tweets coming into the show. Kyle Tanner tweets in, Chris Rainey, Jeff Demps, Trenton Holiday, all fun to watch. Honorable mention, LaRon Landry, because he would light you up.
He would definitely do that.
Took it a little too far later in his career. A little too bulky there.
Played with him in New York. He was a big boy.
And David Boston got a little overexcited on the supplements. But nonetheless, would definitely hit you. There's no doubt about that. And then, yeah, some of the little guys, like a Darren Sproles, I'd throw into the mix with Rainey, Demps, Holiday, those guys that could just scoot were always fun to watch. JD tweets in, this might be the home run tweet of the day. At Mac and Cube, number 47 makes me think of a long snapper.
It's about right.
It's about as accurate of a tweet as we've had all day. I mean, outside of the Mexico City race, but other than that one's pretty good right there. Chuck Bass tweets in Darren Bates. Kyle Tanner tweets in that wide receiver Colt Brennan was throwing to. I think he was Jarvis Best. He was nice too. Jarvis Best, maybe?
They had a slot that was like had tons of juice.
What year was that?
That would have been 2006 or 2007.
See if we can find that receiver real quick. See who that was. 2007. They were 12-1. Give me some stats here.
Hang on, I got you.
Colt Brennan, 4,343 yards, 38 touchdowns, and completed 70% of his passes.
Devon Bess.
Yep.
Number 7. Yeah, he was legit.
He only had
really
108
good.
catches. 108, while Ryan Grice Mullen had 106.
Yeah.
Not to be outdone, Jason Rivers had 92.
They had over
3 guys over 90 catches.
They had 3 guys over 1,100 yards. And then another receiver.
And 3 with double-digit touchdown receptions.
And then another receiver in C.J. Hawthorne that had 61 for 859.
Which is, I mean, that's still a good year right now. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And then a guy that I was actually roommates with at the NFL Combine, Kealoha Polaris, was a freshman. He played running back early in his career, and he was a dude as well, like really, really good. Played for the Panthers there for a couple years, but he was my roommate at the Combine, and he was a stud. He was 5th round pick, and he was a baby at that point.
Crazy to think about how some of those offenses were like just so far ahead of their time and still so good. All right, last year, and I'm not picking on Athlon. This is just kind of what they thought and what they looked at was going to be, because it's actually not an overall bad prediction. But I want to take some of the teams that they got wrong, and maybe can we translate this into teams that we are maybe misguided on right now going into this season, Greg. They had Georgia as the 1 seed. So I guess you probably...
They were what, the 2 seed?
Yeah, not bad.
Pretty good.
Ohio State, the 2.
Ohio State was the 6.
Florida State, the 3.
No, Ohio State was the 8. They were the 8 seed.
I can't recall.
Florida State was the 3.
That's what they had. Yeah, that would be their biggest miss.
Missed that one.
This entire practice. Utah, the 4.
Missed that one.
Kind of a popular pick, but yeah. Oregon, 5. Texas, 6. Ole Miss, 7. Be another miss. Alabama, 8. Michigan, 9. Penn State, 10. Notre Dame, 11. Liberty, 12. So Alabama, Michigan, Liberty, Utah, Florida State, Ole Miss will be your misses.
So they had 6 misses?
Yep. Which I don't know if that's good or bad. We hadn't picked a ton of these yet, so we don't really know.
I could go back and look at mine.
But if we look at some of the teams that they were looking at here, let's start with some of the bigger name teams first, like Alabama, Michigan. Is there a traditional power that you think we are looking at as a potential playoff team right now that has a good chance to do what, let's just say, Michigan did last year and kind of not fall off the face of the earth, but not really be a playoff team and not really be in contention for the playoffs late?
Well, I'm looking at mine from last year. I also had 6 misses. I had Utah, Alabama, Miami, Ole Miss, LSU, and Memphis. So I had 6 misses as well.
And maybe we should be looking at some of those, the next tier of schools like an Ole Miss, like who's maybe a team that we're a little out in front on.
Like, you think we're too high on early in the season, early in the preseason?
I mean, I think he just tackled a tackle in the backfield.
Is that allowed? I think the most concerning, just kind of looking at it, I think one of the most concerning ones that I think I'm rolling the dice on pretty good, but I am a believer this year, is LSU. I think LSU will absolutely make the playoffs. I would think I was a bit early on them last year. I just anticipated too much growth on the defensive side last year. And, but I think the defense this year actually has a chance to be as good as I thought they'd be last year. I'm hoping that's the case. If that is the case, then things could work out with projections as well. But that's probably my biggest dice roll right now, is how high I am on LSU.
Okay.
Who's the one that you're on right now that you like a lot that could absolutely let you down?
I'm trying to go find that FPI real quick, so that at least gives me a reference point of where the rankings are, even though it's not one that we truly trust.
Yeah.
You're asking somebody lower tier that I'm high on? I might go Oklahoma.
As a playoff contender?
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility.
Wow. I'm not there.
All right, I'm going to go down a list of teams. You tell me if you like them, you give them a better chance or not to go to the college football playoff this year. Oklahoma or Notre Dame?
Notre Dame.
A&M.
Oklahoma or A&M?
Yes.
A&M.
Miami.
Tennessee. Oklahoma.
Clemson. Ole Miss.
Oklahoma.
Auburn.
Oklahoma.
South Carolina.
Oklahoma.
Michigan.
Oklahoma.
Florida.
Oklahoma.
USC.
Oklahoma.
Kansas State. Arizona State.
Oof. Arizona State.
Nebraska.
Oklahoma.
Virginia Tech.
Oklahoma.
Georgia Tech.
Oklahoma.
So that's like the middle of the pack right there. And I feel like the majority of those were Oklahoma. Because if you Texas, Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon, if you say those are in, I started next and I did skip LSU because you already said you think LSU's in. So that wasn't a team that I had in. So if you look at that practice that way of, okay, the top 6 are in, let's look at the next 10, 15, and you like Oklahoma's chances more than the majority of those, that's kind of why I feel that way. Like, do I think they have a better chance than Texas, Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, Penn State, Oregon? No. Maybe not even Notre Dame. But I think there's a lot about Notre Dame that's not a lock to get in this year. There's a lot to like about Notre Dame, specifically the offensive line, the running back situation.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to be concerned about. Safety, defensive line, defensive depth overall. Of course, you have a new quarterback, but we both love their offensive coordinator, and he has made it work with a lot of different pieces in a lot of different ways. So not concerned about that at all. But Tennessee, Ole Miss, Auburn, South Carolina, Michigan, Florida, SC, SMU, Kansas State, Arkansas, Arizona State, Nebraska, Virginia Tech, like that's the grouping of teams that would be next that you would have to fight your way past to be able to get in. So,
but part of that has to do with schedule. Like,
sure.
If we're going neutral site, I like Oklahoma's chances against a lot of those teams. But
no, we asked it to go the playoff, and so I think the other part of that to counter your schedule point would be Oklahoma can probably lose 3 and be in the mix.
Yes,
I don't think SMU can lose 3 and be in the mix.
I would agree with that.
Or Kansas State.
We've seen that. We've seen that already from the SEC. I think if you lose 3 in the Big 12, you might still be in the Big 12 championship. I mean, that's absolutely a possibility this upcoming season.
Yeah. So, it's just kind of an intriguing way to look at it when you're trying to decide who's going to get in, who's not going to be in, because I don't know. Would you say right now that the bottom half of the playoff is more wide open than it was a year ago?
I would say that probably, there's so many unknowns. surrounding some of those teams. Like all right, so let's go through like playoff locks quickly. Okay, like playoff locks. Like I think Penn State's a lock.
Yep, I'm with you there.
I think Notre Dame's a lock.
I think close, but I still have a few concerns.
Oh, fair.
See, I think Clemson's a lock.
I think Clemson's a lock. If for whatever reason they were to stub their toe and lose to LSU in the first game of the year, like I think they could lose that game. And that'll be held over their head all season long.
Okay.
I still think they have a great chance.
I'm going to allow Notre Dame. So let's just say Clemson, Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame.
Clemson, Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame. Okay.
Dare we say Georgia or Bama?
I think Oregon
is a lock.
Yeah.
Okay.
Their schedule is manageable. They don't play Michigan or Ohio State. They are at Penn State, but I just like their chances. I just like their program.
Yeah.
There's no lock in the Big 12.
No.
In the SEC, I think the only lock is probably Texas.
Yeah. I would say I would be fine saying Georgia or Alabama. And it's not just the regular season game, but I do think that could sort of swing it one way or the other. I mean, I'm looking at losable, possibly losable games on Alabama's schedule. Georgia, you have to say Vanderbilt.
At home?
I don't think so, but you have to list it as at least losable. I'll say at South Carolina losable, Oklahoma losable, and then just because it's in Jordan-Hare Stadium. But, I mean, that's like long shot losable. So that's worst case possible, like death sentence scenario 4 losses, which is not going to happen. It's not going to take place. So either way, they're in the mix there. So let's go to the flip side of that with Georgia. And
there's not many losable games on Georgia's schedule.
Are you listing Ole Miss as that right now?
Not at home.
I'll list Texas as that. If you're asking me to pick it right now, I'll probably pick Georgia in that game.
In Athens?
Yeah.
Yes, I'll pick Georgia.
At Tennessee is not as scary this year.
At Auburn's tough.
Yeah, that might be a tough one. It's tough Auburn has played them close there, but they haven't beaten them in a while.
Florida will be a tough game, neutral site.
Yeah. All right, so 2-3 maybe losable games. Georgia Tech played them tough last year. That could be a difficult one, but there feels like less confidence in games they could potentially lose. So then maybe the regular season game does come down to be that important. I don't know. I would be fine saying one of those two are going to go.
I just think there's fewer locks in the playoffs this year.
Feels like it.
Like
we thought there were almost none last year.
Going into the season, I felt really good about Ohio State. I felt really good about Penn State. I felt really good about Oregon. Those are teams I felt really good about. Notre Dame. Like I felt really good about those teams making it last year. The SEC I think is a little harder. I think the SEC is a pretty wide net. I think there's a lot of teams that are 9th, 10th in the league that can get you. It just makes it a lot tougher, I think, from that vantage point. So the SEC, I think there's fewer locks. Like I'm having a hard time even saying, like I think Texas is. Their schedule's manageable. It's not, an unrelenting schedule. They get some of their tough games at home. They do have to go to Florida. That's a losable game. They go to Georgia. That's a losable game. Oklahoma, of course, and Dallas is a losable game. Like there are some losable games on the schedule for sure, but it's hard for me to envision them losing all their losable games. So I think they're probably the only lock right now in the SEC.
Well, if you're not just looking for new locks to your doors, but not just new doors either, but a whole new house, Gusty Goulis and the Gusty Goulis Group can help you today. Call 205-542-1996. Visit GustyGoulisGroup.com. See what they can do for you. It's all on the page. There's a button at the top right. Smash that button. Very little information. Find out what your home is worth today. What Gusty Goulis thinks that they can get. Over 855-star Google reviews. Just Google Gusty Goulis Group. Brokered by eXp Realty. Serves more than 3,000 home buyers and sellers in the greater Birmingham area. It's easy. Google Gusty Goulis Group or go to GustyGoulisGroup.com or call 205-542-1996 and start packing. Wrapping up today's show next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Benjamin Howell tweeting in the great Jim Bob Cooter. I'm not sure what to do with Brandon Bronco's tweet. Pete Moss tweeting in, Ohio State breaking new quarterback, both coordinators. Natty hangover could lead to Ohio State falling off a bit. Kiffin averages 10 wins a season. He'll regress to the mean. All right, better chance of happening. Let me say this. Better chance finishing under 10 wins. Ohio State or Ole Miss?
Ohio State.
Better chance finishing 9 wins. Ohio State or Ole Miss? Is that the same question?
Ohio State.
Okay.
It's partly because of the Big Ten's middle tier, bottom tier. Who's going to beat them? Like, tell me that. Like, even in a down year, who's going to get Ohio State this year? And that's it. Like, just go through it right now. Go through the list.
Texas could get them.
Texas could get them.
You did ask in the Big Ten, though.
Are they losing to Washington on the road?
I got to look at Washington more. I really don't know what to expect from that team right now.
Their quarterback's a dude. That's all you need to know. Their quarterback's
a
dude.
Their head coach is a dude, too.
They were 6-0 at home last year. So could they get that one? Sure. At Illinois, you think they're losing Illinois?
No.
You asked, at Wisconsin?
Can they get them? Illinois can get them.
I disagree.
Can't? 0% chance. 0.0 is what you're saying?
There's never 0.0 on anything.
You said they can't. I'm saying
Ohio
they
State
can.
If they lose that game, Ohio State got themselves.
We're not.
Yes.
We're not playing that game. That sounds very similar to this one play decide a game conversation.
It's not sound very similar to that. The only way Ohio State's losing in Champaign is if they turn it over 3 times.
What if they turn it over twice?
Absolutely opens the door.
Overtime.
At Wisconsin.
Not this year.
Penn State at home.
Yeah.
I think
they can lose that one.
Absolutely they can. At Michigan. That's the only other one.
So the floor is 2 losses. Tell our listeners about Shannara Flooring.
Well, Shannara Flooring's great. Really appreciate Fu and his company for the integrity and trust that they've built their foundation on. With over 40,000 square feet of CoreTech flooring in stock right now, you can get $5 off that CoreTech flooring per box when you order it from Shannara Flooring. CoreTech's that 100% waterproof, pet-proof, durable, extremely durable flooring. But are you ready to upgrade your carpet? If you're thinking about going with a different type of flooring under the Shannara Flooring umbrella, you can get 15% off now through July 2nd. The savings start at $150 and only go up from there. You can get 12 months financing with approved credit, and you can see it all online at fooandyou.com.
All right. Tomorrow, we're going to take a look at some of the unnamed coaches and their comments about SEC teams. What does that mean for this upcoming season? 3-man front is next.